The following is a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
Can you hear it? That is the drama and the anticipation building here in Thunder Valley. This is not just a race at Bristol. This is the night race at Bristol. Short track, short fuses, throw in the pressure cooker of the looming chase. If you thought the stakes were raised before, you may want to think again.
The electric feel at night, all the flash bulbs going off. You know, it's that Bristol night race.
500 laps of pure excitement here. 500 right here, guys. Let's go get it. Gonna have to earn it.
That night race, the heat, the reality of where you are in the chase situation, all those things are in plain view. It's just more aggressive.
Just the atmosphere there lends itself to great racing, bumping and grinding. I mean, you stack 43 cars on the track at a half mile of space, they're always going to be running into each other.
Good old short track racing today.
The crowd is on its feet at Bristol, and they're not going to sit down. It's a short track shootout now.
Sparks fly at night when you don't see them during the day. You just feel the thunder through your bones.
Man, that is awesome.
Tempered might flare a little bit more at night.
Just a little bit of tension on that track.
Yeah.
What are you doing? We have not made the car better once today.
You never know what's going to happen here at Bristol.
I won't put up with it.
It depends on if it's a full moon. If it's a full moon, it sends things into a tailspin and creates a lot of drama, a lot of excitement.
And you can hear the boos for Kyle Busch. Kyle has 5 Sprint Cup Series wins here at Bristol Motor Speedway. 2 of them have come in the night race. And if last night's nationwide series race is any indication, that driver has come to play.
If there is one word that describes Kyle Busch in the Bristol Motor Speedway, it would be domination. Kyle Busch celebrating victory tonight in the Truck Series.
Kyle Busch will win 3 in a row at Bristol.
How about Kyle Busch? Kyle, will he retaliate? Yes, he turns him.
Nice work, guys. Way to bring it home. There you go.
Starts, and after last night, 12 wins across the top 3 series in NASCAR. Tonight, if history is any indication, Busch will finish at least in the top 10. Jamie Little.
And Kyle Busch made history yet again last night, becoming the winningest driver in the Nationwide Series. But Kyle, different night, different series. This entire field is separated by 0.4 of a second. How do you get to the front starting in the mid-pack where you are?
You just got to have a good car. The best thing that you can do is just kind of be patient and work your way through traffic one by one. But, you know, when it comes down to the long run, that's where guys kind of get their car to shine a little bit, and they get to be able to pick cars off one at a time. So, you know, if you're about everybody can run the same speed for 20, 25 laps, but after that point, it's going to be about survival.
Last week you qualified for the Sprint Summer Showdown. What are the chances going into Atlanta you win that race and win $3 million for fans, for you, for your charity? Well,
I certainly hope that there's an opportunity for us to win tonight. We win tonight, that'll lock somebody else out, you know, and then we only have to race against the other 4 guys. But most importantly, when we win Atlanta, that'll be 3 wins in a row for our race team, and obviously that would be, 6 wins on the year for us. So it'd be pretty awesome to be able to take that money and give it to charity, as well as a lucky fan and the Joe Gibbs Racing team.
12 wins here at Bristol Motor Speedway. It's easy to say Kyle Busch is the favorite tonight. Nicole?
Now, this is the portion of the show where we would normally welcome you inside the ESPN pit studio, but oh no, not tonight. This is no normal night. Tonight, we are welcoming you inside Bristol Motor Speedway, where the electricity is truly it's catching. I'm Nicole Briscoe alongside Brad Doherty, and a 9-time winner at this track, Rusty Wallace. If you are a race fan, this track has got to be on your bucket list. Can you feel it? It's awesome.
I can feel it. I've been here before. I've won here before. And I will tell you, this track right here is everybody's Daytona 500. It's huge. The crowd is electric. And I can tell you as a past winner, when you win here, you really feel like you've done something. All your peers know it. Everybody comes up and congratulates you. It's just an amazing feeling. And you can hear everybody behind us, Brad.
That's right.
They are jacked up. They are ready. And I know when these drivers get in the cars, they're going to feel the same way.
Hey, I'm telling you what, when they build that monument out front, it's going to have Darrell Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, and Kyle Busch. Can anybody, Rusty, deal with Kyle Busch tonight?
Look, we've been talking about Kyle Busch all week long. The guy's great here. We know about that. He can dominate in anything he's driving here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. But look, it's time for somebody to beat him. Who is it going to be? And in my opinion, it's going to be Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon's won here 5 times. This guy can get it done, Brad. I feel comfortable that he's going to run in the top 5 and maybe close the deal at the very end. Somebody's got to beat Kyle. But you know what? It's going to be tough.
That's exactly right. And the guy I'm counting on is going to be Carl Edwards. Carl has struggled the past several weeks. He's got his contractual stuff behind him. He's not run very well, but he did qualify second here. It's time for Carl Edwards to get back to victory lane.
Carl Edwards is not the only guy tonight with that it's gotta go attitude. It is go time for the Chase Bubble guys. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, but dare I say, is this place the new Talladega where you just have to survive? Plus, we know Bristol will beat up your car, but just how much will this place beat up the driver of that car? Better get that neck ready. ESPN Sports Science takes a look at the G-force effect here. Plus, if it was easy to get a win here, it wouldn't be Bristol. It wouldn't be special. That's why the drivers love it, and that's why the fans here are so loyal.
I'm Fred Hyder. I'm from Bristol, Tennessee. I've been to every race in Bristol since 1961.
And they're off and running.
The track was an asphalt track. There was a scoring stand here in turn 4, and they would hold up numbers every time the car would go by. Let's do some multiplying. What's 101 times 500? Is that 5,500 or is it 55,000? That'd be 50,000. I believe I've seen about 50,500 laps of racing. It's the experience. You really get hooked on it. Race 2 and 3 wide around the track. The roar is so great that you can't even talk to the person next to you. It smells a lot like burnt rubber. There's a lot of beating and banging going on.
The Coliseum of Collision.
We're in big trouble here.
He's into the wall.
God dang it.
Most races here at Bristol are real peaceful.
We got trouble.
It's hard to say why I haven't missed a race. I haven't had any bad luck to keep me from missing one.
Right along, gang. Fired up. All right, bud. You ready to have some fun tonight?
This is Bristol, baby.
And good evening on this Saturday night. I'm David Muir at ABC News in New York with this update on Hurricane Irene now barreling up the East Coast. Irene, of course, making landfall in North Carolina this morning and has already killed at least 5 people. Nearly 1 million people are without power. This storm is very large and is moving very slowly. Irene is now headed to Maryland, and ABC's Jim Sciutto is waiting for the storm in Ocean City, Maryland tonight. Jim?
David, the hurricane not hitting here until after midnight, but we're already feeling the power of this storm. It's been raining for several hours. They're expecting 17 inches of rain. The wind gusting above 50 miles an hour. So strong they've stopped answering even emergency calls here. But what we've really been watching is this surf. The waves growing from a couple of feet to several feet. The seas churning and now threatening these dunes here, which are the last line of defense for all the hotels, the homes, the businesses of Ocean City, Maryland. David?
All right, Jim Sciutto before Irene arrives. And the hurricane, of course, has a bullseye in some of the most popular cities in America. And so we turn now to ABC News weather editor Sam Champion on what the forecast holds tonight. Sam?
David, it started raining earlier in New York City. It will now rain throughout the night. Latest look at the Hurricane Center's track will show you the still expected this storm to travel up the eastern seaboard. And it doesn't leave an inch of the coastline really untouched. But here is some good news if you'll take that. And that is this storm continues to weaken ever so slightly to a very strong tropical storm by the time it gets to the New York City area and beyond. David?
All right, Sam, thanks very much. I know you'll be with the entire Good Morning America team first thing in the morning, the latest all night long at abcnews.com. I'm David Muir. We go back now to Bristol Motor Speedway and Nicole Briscoe.
Thanks, David. And for all of us here at Bristol, Tennessee, our thoughts are certainly with the people affected by the storm on the East Coast. And for many of us here, we do have personal ties to it. There are many crew members, many fans that have friends and family out there. So we are thinking of everyone tonight affected by Irene. If you do ever get the chance to come to Bristol Motor Speedway, we have a challenge for you. Go to the corner and try to walk from the bottom of the track to the top. And we should also probably tell you, good luck. That is about 30 degrees of banking in that corner. If you think walking the banking is tough, you should try driving it. Here's John Brinkus.
G-force is a calculation of the velocity squared divided by the radius. In other words, two variables affect G-force on the racetrack: speed and the sharpness of the turn. First, speed. On a flat track, if a car attempts a turn at 200 miles an hour, insufficient traction would cause the car to slide off the track. But at speedways like Talladega, the turns are banked at angles as high as 33 degrees. This banking allows centripetal force to help pull the car towards the center of the track and roughly doubles the effective weight on the tires. This increases traction so cars can go faster, which increases the G's in the turn. Next, radius. The distance from the focus of the turn to the curve. The shorter the radius, the sharper the turn, increasing G-force. Speeds through the turns at Bristol average more than 80 miles an hour slower than at Talladega. But drivers can actually experience more G-force at Bristol. This is because Bristol has tighter turns, with radii averaging only 249 feet. That's over 77% shorter than Talladega. As a NASCAR driver banks a turn, his body can experience up to 3 G's of acceleration, which means the average driver weighing 160 pounds feels like he weighs 480 pounds. When a driver races through a turn, the inner ear registers extra G's in the outward direction of the curve, while the eyes interpret the normal downward force of gravity. These conflicting messages can result in dizziness and disorientation. But like a fighter pilot, a NASCAR driver's training enables him to utilize a technique called vestibular suppression. Their brains ignore these mixed signals, and they can continue driving. At Bristol, drivers can sustain up to 3 G's, lasting roughly 5 seconds in each turn. That means over the course of the race, they feel like they weigh 3 times their body weight for over 80 minutes. For ESPN Sports Science, I'm John Brinkus.
Well, Rusty Wallace, you've won here 9 times. Brad, I got to give you some credit.
That's right.
You finished second in a celebrity race. But Rusty, how physically demanding is this place?
It's very demanding, Nicole. It's very hard on your neck. It's the very hardest track in all of NASCAR. We carry the most G-forces right here at Bristol. And because of that, the first thing to go in your body is your neck. Imagine going down the straightaway to over 100 miles an hour and you hit a hairpin corner. I'm telling you what, Brad, your head wants to fly out that window. So I've always struggled with that with here. A lot of drivers will struggle with G-forces here, and it's one thing you better be prepared for, because it can flat take you right out of a car.
Yeah, this is the racetrack. This track in Dover, they answer the question of, are these guys really athletes? Heck yeah, they're real athletes. 3 G's of force on the body, running 160 125 miles an hour, 140 degrees in the race car. Oh, yeah, you're trying to thread the needle as well. High-speed decision-making. It's all answered at Bristol, baby.
Just watching the cars on this track can make you feel dizzy, so I can only imagine what it's like inside the car. And for more on that, Tim Brewer is standing by in the Craftsman Tech Garage. What sort of protection do these guys have for their heads and necks?
Nicole, you work on the driver as much as you work on your race car to really handle well. But right here in this area, that's where you have to rely on. Rusty said it takes a lot of physical strength in the neck muscles. But when you're going through the corners 1,000 times here at Bristol, you have to literally lay your head over against this rest and relax those muscles. Because this area right here, back when Rusty drove, he didn't have anything over in this area. He didn't even like to lay his head over there. So that tells me he was not only physically tough, he's mentally tough to win as many races as he won here in Bristol.
Mr. Brewer, thank you very much. Hey, this is the final week of DirecTV's head-to-head knockout, where drivers are pitted against each other in a bracket challenge. Just go to directv.com/NASCAR to check out your brackets. And let's take a look at the fastest four. Matt Kenseth, Jeff Gordon, Brad Keselowski, and Clint Boyer. The drivers in this are playing for a charity. Fans are playing for $1 million. More from Bristol in just a second. Today is the last day to enter the Sprint Summer Showdown presented by the HTC Evo 3 Day, and there is a ton riding on today as a result, because next week at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Paul Menard, Brad Keselowski, Marcus Ambrose, and Kyle Busch, plus today's winners, are going to be driving for a huge payday. If they win, the driver, their charity, and one lucky fan will win $1 million each. And I don't know about you, but I sure take that.
Oh, I take that money right now. $1 million. What do you think about you, Big Brad? Huh?
Hey, I'll tell you what sounds to me like Kyle Busch is getting ready to go pick up a bunch of money.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because there are a number of drivers who could seriously put that $1 million in jeopardy next weekend, including Kyle, who, of course, won last weekend in Michigan. It's based on past results. You can take a look at this. It's very possible that Kurt Busch, or Jeff Gordon, or Carl Edwards could get the win tonight. It just so happens that those three aren't too shabby in Atlanta either. Oh, and by the way, keep in mind, there are just 3 races to go before the chase. Last week, Kyle Busch became the first driver to clinch a spot in the postseason. Tonight, a few more can join him, all the way down to Kurt Busch. And on that list includes tonight's Coors Light pole winner, who is standing by with Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you, Nicole. As you mentioned, pole sitter Ryan Newman sits 7th in the point standings, but just 31 points ahead of his teammate and Chase bubble driver Tony Stewart. And Ryan, tonight, how aggressive will you be in terms of trying to get the win versus thinking big picture in points championship?
We just have to race it like it's any other race. I mean, we're in a really good position. We're in a much better position. We're farther in now than we were out last year, and just really thankful to have Bass Pro Shops and Realtree jump on board for this race, and to get them a pole, that's special. But man, this is a special place to be up front, start up front. We got good pit selection, and the track's really racy, and we'll see what we can do to keep it up front.
Hey, good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Nicole, last time he sat on the pole, New Hampshire last month, he dominated the race on his way to a victory.
And there is some news this week, because next season Ryan Newman will have a new teammate, Danica Patrick. It was announced this week that she will run a full nationwide series schedule with Junior Motorsports in 2012 and a partial cup schedule with Stewart Haas Racing.
I tell you what, that whole deal's got me just a little bit concerned. What I'm wondering about, guys, is that, hey, Stewart Haas are struggling right now. Tony Stewart's right there at the very end, maybe getting out of this chase, not making it. Last week he told us, hey, this car's not good. With the car struggling, and they already got 2 teams, it makes me wonder what in the world are they thinking with the 3rd team. You would think if they go to a 3rd team, it could actually hurt the team. Look, I realize, Brad, it's extra money, but a lot of the times the money doesn't make the car go faster.
Well, you're absolutely right, Rusty. There's going to be a ton of focus on Danica, but I do have to say I'm tickled to death she's coming, because she can bring Danica Nation with her. But from a performance standpoint, I think you're exactly right. How does this affect that guy right there, Tony Stewart?
Yeah, well, that make the car go quicker, Nicole.
Right.
That is an interesting point, because as we were saying, Tony Stewart is now 10th in points. He's trying to stay out of this group right there. Drivers vying for that wild card, and that means Stewart has to have a good run tonight. And in an ideal world for the 14 team, a great run that would end up with Stewart in victory lane. Right, Dave Burns?
That'd be the best case scenario, Nicole, but he's had a rough Bristol weekend so far this weekend. Tony, what was the deal with the car, and how do you dig out of this hole and at least hold on to your points position?
We've just been fighting the balance and haven't been able to get it close, and then in qualifying it swapped and went from being really tight to really loose, which we didn't expect. So just had to sit down with Darian Grubb last night, and we sat and looked at Ryan's notes and looked at the 400 car notes and just tried to come up with an educated game plan and guess for tonight. So we haven't ran a lap with the setup that we got in the car, but we got 500 laps to figure it out. We just got to be aggressive early in this thing and not get ourselves a lap down starting this far back, and be cautiously aggressive. So I'm trying to smile as much as I can now because I got a feeling it's going to be a hard, long night tonight, but I'm really proud of all these guys in this Bass Pro Shops, Office Depot, Mobile, and Chevy. They've done an awesome job, and I guarantee they've worked harder than any other crew in the garage area this weekend, having to change things that we did yesterday. But this team's never quit. I've never quit, and we're going to fight for 500 laps tonight, get everything we can get out of it.
Good luck tonight, Tony.
Thank you.
Nicole?
Well, Denny Hamlin is 14th in points. He is considered a short track master, but he's best known for his prowess at Martinsville and Richmond. In fact, 6 of his 17 career wins have come in either of those places, yet he has never won here at Bristol. The numbers are a bit better for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He has won here back in the fall of 2004. And even better news, his average is 11.5, which is enough to help him maintain his spot in the top 10 in points. This track really races a lot differently now since that 2007 reconfiguration. It's a survival track in a way, dare I say, Talladega-esque?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I mean, there's been some rumblings. Well, they messed it up. I don't like it, this, that. The drivers love racing this racetrack. I was listening to Kurt Busch in the media center on Friday. He said he absolutely loves racing here because you can race with another car. You don't end up in a wreck and have to take positions that you can't get out of a situation from. The person, though, that I think is going to benefit most is Dale Earnhardt Jr. tonight. He absolutely loves coming to this race facility, and when he loves being at a racetrack, he usually performs very well. I'm expecting big things out of Junior tonight.
You know who else loves being here? Mr. 9-time over there, Rusty Wallace. All right, you should know, what is your Bush's Beans recipe for success tonight?
Well, I tell you what, at this particular track, Nicole, you got to be aggressively patient. Is that such a word, Brad? I think it is.
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
At this place, I mean, everything happens very, very fast around this racetrack, so you got to stand on it. You got to be real aggressive, but at the same time, watch what's going on. Be a little bit patient. Now, the other thing, handling over speed. You do not have to have the fastest car at this racetrack. What you do have to have, though, is a car that maneuvers real well, a car that you can run down low, a car you can run up high, a car that you can pass all over this racetrack. Very, very important to have that. And above all, a good pit selection. You got to have a place that you can pit at and not get yourself in trouble and blocked in.
A lot to talk about tonight as we get ready to roar to life here in Bristol. After this message and a word from our ABC stations. And we are back at Bristol Motor Speedway on a beautiful August night, wrapping up our summer. A lot of traditions at this racetrack, including that, the skydiver coming into the Speedway with the American flag. We're covering the ground tonight with a lot of stories to follow. Vince, you are up first.
Well, Nicole, Kyle Busch has won 5 Cup races here at Bristol. So his crew chief, Dave Rogers, must be licking his chops tonight, right? Not exactly. In fact, Rogers says this is his most difficult race because Kyle knows exactly what he wants in his race car, and Rogers feels the pressure to deliver it. Add to that, everyone expects the 18 to contend for the win. Another trip to victory lane would be reason to celebrate, but for Rogers, it would be reason for relief. Jerry Punch?
Well, Vince, without a doubt, here in the month of August, Brad Keselowski has been the hottest driver in all of NASCAR. Now, since breaking his ankle and injuring his low back at the beginning of the month, here's what he has done. He has won at Pocono, finished second at Watkins Glen, and third at Michigan. Tonight, though, he will face his stiffest challenge today. Turning 15-second laps on the 3-story high concrete banks at Bristol can be brutal, and truly this will be a test of his physical and mental toughness. Nicole?
We're in the middle of the run-up to the race here. A lot of chills and excitement, and here's one of the great traditions trackside.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Tennessee Army National Guard presents our nation's colors. Please stay on your feet and join Second Lieutenant Trent Callison from the Tennessee Army National Guard in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing as Joe Gibbs offers tonight's invocation.
Fathers, we come back to Bristol. We want to celebrate Jeff Bird's life. We all thank you, Father, for creating us. It's great knowing we're no accidents. You made us. You want to have a personal relationship with us, and you were willing to sacrifice your only Son, Jesus Christ, so we would have a path back to you. Father, we pray for everybody that's suffering under the hurricane right now. We pray for their protection. We pray for our country. We pray for everybody that's fighting for our protection. Father, we pray that we'll have a great night and that we would honor you with everything that happens here tonight. In thy precious name we pray. Amen.
Please place your right hand over your heart and welcome the MRO children as they perform our national anthem.
Of this season. It is Bristol, and we are ready to go.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on ABC, brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side. The Sprint Summer Showdown and HTC Evo 3D, where $3 million is on the line. Tune in September 4th to see who comes out on top. And the new movie Warrior on September 9th. Family is worth fighting for. Warrior, rated PG-13. In theaters September 9th.
One of the great many traditions for this particular race in August. Fans line the streets. They light up the track as the haulers come in to Bristol Motor Speedway. It's a sneak peek of all of the excitement we'll get to see later on in the weekend. And of course, that's how they file in one by one. The Nationwide Series, the Cup Series trucks. This is what it looks like right now. The Sprint Cup Series ready to go, and Chevy brings you drive it like you want it. Enter for a chance to win a new Chevy Silverado and a trip to Texas Motor Speedway and a chance to meet Team Chevy drivers Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon. Visit driveitlikeyouwantit.com right now. Alan Bestwick, I don't know about you, but I am truly pumped up for this one.
It's really easy to get pumped up for a race at Bristol, Nicole. Thanks. And pumped up for this particular race. Take a look at these numbers. This from qualifying that was held here on Friday afternoon. The time difference between the pole-winning lap and the 10th qualifier, 75 1/1000ths of a second. Positions 1 through 20, 0.136 seconds. Not much. With Dale Jarrett and Andy Petrie, a competitive field. a very tight racetrack. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I have a feeling we might see some patience run a little thin tonight.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Alan. These drivers are all aware of just what we showed you, how close this field is. They saw the nationwide race last night, how difficult it was to pass, but how much room you have with this new racing surface for the last 4 years. They understand what they're going to have to do. They want to be patient, but that's going to run out. They're going to get extremely frustrated at times, and that's going to be the times that they're going to use their front bumper, their fender, their door, whatever they have to do to take that position away.
Yeah, and even if you are just a little bit faster, it still takes a long time to complete a pass here. But the best place to pass is going to be coming off pit road. That's where you can really gain spots and lose spots, but you can be the driver's best friend if you can gain him 3 or 4 spots on pit road tonight, because that would be very valuable on the racetrack.
People like to talk about New Bristol, Old Bristol. I have visions of the Old Bristol showing its form on the New Bristol track as we go through these 500 laps. Now, talking about pit road, Andy, this racetrack unique on the circuit in that it has the split pit roads, one along the front straightaway, one along the back stretch, and that means 2 different procedures for pitting here, one for green flag stops, one for yellow flag.
Yeah, it seems like it's simple, but it does get confusing, especially for the drivers when you're going around here so fast. But if you make a caution flag pit stop, this procedure is just enter on the back straightaway in turn 2. You will travel the length of both pit roads on a caution flag pit stop. Now, if it's green, you just pit on the straightaway that your pit stall is in. If you're on the back straightaway, you just enter on turn 2, come out in turn 3, and you spend a lot less time on pit road and at pit road speed. So you know the fast lap times, it keeps you from losing too many laps. So I mean, it's a good procedure, and it makes it very even for the competition.
Hey, you talk like that's simple for the driver to remember all of that,
Yeah.
what he can do under the green flag. But most of the time, when you're going to do that under green flag conditions, as a driver, you're out there making these 15, 16-second laps, and you really lose track of that. Sometimes lose track exactly where you are. These things happen so quickly, so it's great if the crew chief can really help, the spotter can help in those scenarios.
We'll see how many drivers get frustrated. We'll see what kind of pressure's on the pit crews tonight, if anybody messes up that procedure, if we get a green flag stop. Jimmy Johnson. Remember, he talked about how this track frustrated him for so long. Last few races here, he has been incredible. Jimmy's got a little work to do from 13th starting spot tonight.
Yeah, he does have some work to do there, but I think that Jimmy and Chad have found something that works to Jimmy's liking a lot more with this surface, a lot more racing room. I think they like this tire. So look for him to be very competitive and a chance to win here tonight.
And another guy to really keep an eye on tonight is the guy starting third.
This guy right here can really do some damage tonight. I mean, he's starting up front, usually doesn't qualify that well. With this car being that fast, I think he will be a threat.
Matt Kenseth a few years back. As a matter of fact, I think the first night race here, after they reconfigured the track, just dominated the field in that 17. We'll see if Kenseth goes to victory lane tonight as well. Weather, it's gorgeous. Not much of a threat of showers at all tonight. You see the skies around the racetrack. Great crowd has filed in. Now we only need one thing to happen. You know what I'm talking about.
I know.
Get that big roar going from the fans as they give the command to make the engines roar.
For the words we've all been waiting for, please welcome Newell Rubbermaid Chief Executive Officer Mike Polk and 250 Irwin guests as they deliver the most famous words in motorsports.
On behalf of Irwin Tools and the American tradesmen, the hands that built America and keep it running stronger, gentlemen, start your engines!
Yes, we're going here, bud. Man, you can let me know when you're ready. All right, when you're ready. Just get through the first couple laps here. See if we get up third line. I won't be in a rush to get up there.
A lot at stake tonight besides the prestige of a win in the night race at Bristol. Just a few races left to determine those places in the chase. The spectacular racing stadium that is Bristol Motor Speedway, where the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is set to rocket around here for 500 laps. Look at the starting lineup. Brian Newman, his third Bristol pole. Carl Edwards, his third straight front row start at Bristol. And the rest of the 43-car grid as they get ready to roll out onto the racetrack. When we get back to row number 8, the 16th starting position, you will find tonight's in-race reporter. That is Clint Boyer, DJ.
Hey, Clint, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have a copy?
That's good.
All right, man, our mailbag question comes from Jordan in Queens, New York. Out of the last 3 tracks before the chase, which are Bristol, Atlanta, and Richmond, which do you think you have the best chance of getting a win at?
You know, we've won a race at Richmond. It's one of my favorite racetracks. But, man, you can't ask for a better track at Bristol. Had a fun race last night. Come up a little bit short, but a win here would be big. Big for a lot of different reasons. Very important racetrack for everybody in this sport. And then it'd probably put us in the chase as well. So, important night here in front of us.
All right, well, we've been talking on our countdown show about how important it is for the driver. You've got to be patient. You have to be aggressive to make all of this work. Your pre-race meal, which was the bigger portion, patience or aggressive?
Man, I tell you got to play offense on a track like this. The minute you're looking in the mirror, you're in trouble. You really got to be aggressive. You can't be overly aggressive. Can't be stupid, but you got to be aggressive.
All right, man, you be smart. Have a great race. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Bubba.
Clint carrying one of our high-definition onboard cameras tonight. We've got some great guys to ride with around Thunder Valley. One of the hottest drivers in the sport, some of the most successful ever at this racetrack, and some guys with a lot of work to do to get to the front.
Yeah, Kyle Busch, we'll keep an eye on him. Jeff Gordon, 5 wins at this track.
Kevin Harvick's good here, too.
There is Clint, and Martin Truex Jr. ran really well here back in March and then ran into some troubles. Didn't get the finish he wanted. He's also got one of our onboard cameras tonight. Our Gillette Pro Glide profile tonight focuses on Denny Hamlin. And if you look at where Denny was this time a season ago versus where he is now, you skeptical or are you a believer about him getting up in there and making this championship?
I'd have to say I'm a little bit skeptical right now about this race team and Denny, the performance that I've seen. It would certainly be great for them to have a good night here. You know, a nice run, another victory would certainly change the way that they're looking at things and put them in a much better position, but they need something good to happen.
I believe Jamie Little has more on Denny Hamlin.
That's right. I'm going to leave it up to NASCAR Nation to decide that. But Denny Hamlin, coming off of 4 consecutive finishes or 15th or worse, he needs a good finish tonight. He slipped back to 14th in the points, and this is a guy who almost won the championship last year. Now he finds himself on the verge of missing the chase. His crew chief, Mike Ford, told me the key to tonight, don't succumb to the pressure. Dave Burns?
Jamie, Tony Stewart clings to the final guaranteed chase spot. So when he clocked the slowest time of all cars here yesterday in qualifying, the team went to work. As teammates provided valuable information about what has worked this weekend at Bristol, the crew went to work on the car. Crew Chief Darian Grubb told me it's the biggest reset he's ever done on a race car between qualifying and the race event itself. We're about to see how big their hard work pays off. Alan?
Crew chief's got a lot of hard work to do tonight. The crew members that go over the wall, a lot of hard work tonight. Mark Hollywood Armstrong, our over-the-wall reporter tonight. Changing rear tires on Dave Blaney's 36 car. Tight conditions out there. Be safe, Hollywood. And a reminder that our broadcast available in Spanish by activating your SAP button. That coverage presented tonight by ESPN Deportes. They call it the world's fastest half mile. 30-degree banks in the corner, 500 laps for a driver, a grueling, demanding physical race. The grandstands going straight up from the racetrack. What an atmosphere for a start.
I can tell you as a former driver, there is nothing more exciting than looking up there, seeing all this, the flash bulbs, the cameras that'll make those flashes as we go take the green flag. Just an incredible setting.
It's the night race at Bristol. Started back in 1978 when they first put lights up at this racetrack. It's become one of the most popular events of the season. One every driver wants to win. 43 have a chance starting right now. Leads lap 1, the race for second. Carl Edwards 99, Jeff Gordon 24.
Saw a lot of give and take on the start of this race. We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, I saw that. It looked like everybody just gave it, seemed like an extra foot on that start, and it really hasn't let everybody get sorted out. There's still some double file racing going on, though.
That's Jamie McMurray in the 1. The Penske teammates, Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski, 2 and 22, and up front, Gordon closing on Newman for the lead.
We talked about Jeff Gordon's win here, but he hasn't won on this new surface and hasn't won in this particular car since it went to that. So see, looks like his car is awfully strong to start this race.
And just a thought, as you see people trying to work that lower side, like Gordon, trying to get the lead on Newman. This racetrack has progressive banking. There's less banking in that lower lane than in the higher lane.
Yeah, he's obviously faster than Newman. Looks like Newman realizes that, too. Just gives him the spot. And he'll just kind of fall in second, see where his car looks good.
Yeah, and I think that the nationwide race last night showed us if you get your car on the bottom of the racetrack, it can be fast down there, and don't wear the tires out. That is still the place to go, but it's a very difficult pass.
There's the race for second. Edwards and Newman now. Edwards just about hasn't cleared.
Newman was giving him that spot, but looked like Carl might have gotten a little bit loose and held him up a little bit. See Jamie McMurray there. A lot of people talking about that one car in practice was extremely fast on the longer runs.
That's for fifth position. Kurt Busch, another guy who's had so much success at Bristol, but not since they redid the track or since they introduced this car of tomorrow, this new generation race car.
All of that certainly changed the way that you race this racetrack, but it's a matter of these drivers adapting to all of that.
Jimmy Johnson moving up a couple spots on the start in that 48. Right behind him.
Clint gets really loose on the bottom. Marcus Ambrose and Logano work at the top.
And these cars with all the horsepower that they make, even more difficult to run that bottom side, keep the rear tires hooked up to the racing surface. See Clint still extremely loose. Can't complete that pass on Logano.
Yeah, I asked Marcus Ambrose, I talked to him earlier today, and he was talking about really the best place and the only good place to pass is on the top side. And he's kind of committed to that.
Now, DJ, this is where we talked about that patience thing earlier at the beginning of our comments about guys trying to make passes and maybe not being able to finish them when they want to and start to get frustrated a little bit.
Yeah, and it happens in a hurry because these laps go by so quickly. You get lined up. It's not a Talladega type situation where you get trained, but you can get in that type situation, lose 2, 3, and 4 spots at a time, and then you really start pressing the issue.
Everybody's playing nice right now, but when this leader starts coming around on the backside of the field, there's going to be a lot of pressure on those drivers back there to get moving, and that's when you'll see that give and take start to change a little bit.
So Kurt Busch up in front of Jamie McMurray. That's 6th and 7th places. Next in line to take a shot at McMurray is Mark Martin in 8th. Watching some of these guys kind of sliding around in the opening laps. We're talking about Clint Boyer and talking about patience. He said you got to be on offense. And that's when that guy on the outside starts to lose his patience too.
In a hurry.
Little contact in the early going here at Bristol. We're back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Beautiful look at Bristol Motor Speedway as the sun sets on a Saturday night. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear's learned making tires for the proving grounds of NASCAR inspires what they roll into your tires. Goodyear, more driven. And down inside the bowl of the world's fastest half mile, Jeff Gordon, second leader of the race, has led 23 laps tonight after Ryan Newman led the first 4. And you see Gordon already has caught the tail end of the field and begun putting some cars a lap down.
Yeah, it doesn't take very long at the pace that he's going here. He's got some interesting cars up ahead of him, too, that he'll be looking at, but he probably needs to keep an eye on his mirror. Got a couple of guys, 99 and the 2 of Brad Keselowski coming at him pretty quick, too.
Let's get an update on the 24, Dave.
Alan, he's running great right now. Crew Chief Alan Gustafson told me today that they didn't quite nail it in qualifying. Remember, he started 4th. But when they give him something consistent, he makes it happen. Well, think about the beginning of this race. Jeff jumped right out there. He's got a good, consistent car right now. And if Jeff Gordon is this good at the start of the race, he could really make things happen for the finish.
Yeah, Jeff jumping to the lead at lap number 5. Taking the lead then from Ryan Newman, who has begun to fall back a little bit. Here's second place Carl Edwards being challenged by that guy you said was coming to the front as the caution comes out on the speedway. Something on the racetrack in turn 1 will bring out the yellow flag for the first time.
Well, there's a lot of drivers with a big sigh of relief right there, needing to do some work on their race cars.
So first yellow, 32 laps into the race. That's just going to catch a couple of cars a lap down. Andy Lally had been overtaken by the leader already, and Mike Skinner, Robbie Gordon, and Michael McDowell have taken their cars to the garage area in the early laps. Scott Speed is turning behind the wall right now as well. What do you think, Andy? Pit stops?
Yeah, you know, you almost hate if you're the leader to see the caution come out this early. Those top 10 cars or so would like to see it to keep going, but, you know, they'll probably look at pit road here. Be an opportunity for some strategy.
They'll look at it, but will they turn on to it?
Well, here they come. We'll see. Looks like Gordon is. Keselowski stays out.
And it's going to be a real split agenda here, Dave.
Jeff just radioed just prior to that, after he was told to stay out, that they were going to come down pit road. Loose race car on throttle right now for the 24. Jamie?
And Carl Edwards was going to stay out, but as soon as Jeff darted down, he came out too. Track bar down, says he's a little bit loose off, and it's tossing the rear around. Going to fill it up with Sunoco fuel as the rest of the field works their way around to the backside.
Jamie McMurray a little bit too tight on entry, and then it's loose off, says it just carries him through the middle. They're going to just make a 4-tire change, air pressure adjustment as well. Bono Mannion, the crew chief's been pretty happy with the car this weekend. Doc?
Mark Martin said the car started tight, then neutralized, balanced pretty good. We're in a little bit of an air pressure change. Mark's wants to run the bottom of the racetrack, down and away under 12.5 seconds, guys.
Got a lot of guys stayed on the racetrack. Some of the others have come down pit road, had some strategy for those who did pit. Where's Jeff Gordon going to wind up on this restart? We'll tell you when we come back to Bristol. Back at Bristol, doubled up for the restart as the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series runs the Irwin Tools night race. Brad Keselowski, the new leader, did not pit. All the guys you see back through 10th place David Ruderman did not pit. Kurt Busch in the 22 in 11th place, the first guy off pit road, that yellow and red car inside row. He just got 2 tires. Jeff Gordon let him down pit road. He's 14th. Cost him the lead.
Yeah, he about crashed, though. They got together a little bit as they exited turn 4.
And we saw tires not make a huge difference towards the end of that race last night, but you got to make sure that you get them really cleaned off and ready to go on these restarts if you're going to stay out.
He's really tight. Well, yeah.
Got a little help, too.
Yeah. I said they were tight together all the way through that corner, and he had some definite help there.
So Matt Kenseth is out in front and becomes the 4th different driver to lead this race. Guys who didn't stop: Kenseth, Keselowski, Johnson, Newman, Smith, Biffle, Truex, Harvick, Kyle Busch, David Ruderman. Vince, how about the leader?
Well, they discussed stopping during that first yellow, but just didn't make the decision in time. Says, we'll stay out. Really tight at the start of the run for Kenseth, and then it got mean loose. And they're also keeping an eye on those brake rotors.
Mike, you didn't see that rotor was glowing or anything, did you? I did. That's why I told you to be easy on the brakes. You must have some kind of problem then still, so I'm hardly using them. If you see that, let me know again, and I'll try to make sure my foot's all the way off of it. It's got to be almost something now, right? Because I'm hardly using them.
They had a good run here in March, finished 4th, but crew chief Jimmy Fennick said they were a little too free in March, and they've been fighting that all weekend here. We'll see how it goes tonight.
Oh, big jam there. Look at this off turn 4.
Yeah, Martin Truex is really struggling. 16 got into him. Greg Biffle off of turn 2 last time really stacked this group up, but it looks like he's got an extremely loose car. May have a tire going down.
And this is a mix of guys with the fresher tires charging from behind these guys who are trying to hold on.
One thing we saw last night, though, is the tires don't make a lot of difference, especially when you've only got 30 laps or so.
Here's second place, Jimmy Johnson. Got it rolling. But not yet.
You just see the run off of that high side. It's obviously a little longer way around, but you can get back to the throttle and drive and carry a lot of speed. Make the straightaway just a little bit longer.
I watched Jimmy in that first part of that run before the caution came out. He had one of the best looking cars on the bottom of the racetrack, getting a good bite up off the corner. Looks like it's working for him.
So Jimmy up to second.
And up in the high group now that I'm talking about running the bottom.
Yeah. Hate it when that happens, huh? Talking about Martin Truex Jr. kind of getting knocked around and barely hanging on.
Yeah, you can see coming off of turn 2, misjudged that a little, got into Biffle, and then got a little tap from behind himself from Kevin Harvick, and that stacked everybody up right behind them.
Let's talk about the 2-car, Doc.
Well, during the caution flag a moment ago, Brad Keselowski said, I'm a little free on exit. Crew Chief Paul Wolf said, how free? Well, we're about to find out on the restart, as you saw him get sideways and lose the lead. And now Brad's tone has gotten more serious. He said the car is really getting free. I'm wondering if we have a left rear tire or a left side tire going down. Brad losing ground and concerned about maybe a tire with a slow leak on the left side.
And Doc, when you look at the left side tires on this 2-car, that yellow lettering that normally says Goodyear is not there.
Yeah, but I'm looking at his lap times, and they look good. He was actually the second fastest car on the track the last lap, and that's what I'd be telling him if I was his crew chief. Just trying to reassure him, hey, you're running good lap times. I don't believe you've got a flat tire.
Might not have a flat tire, but you can see those hands working in there. He does have a loose race car.
And when that lettering is gone, it means you've been rubbing up against somebody.
Oh, yeah. You can see the rub from Kenseth that he got off turn 4.
This is Harvick.
Yeah, Harvick's really been, watched him a little bit on that first run, really working the high side. When he runs up on somebody that does have that high side covered, he has a little bit of a problem, like most of these guys, making that pass on the inside, but moving forward.
One of the guys that did not pit under the caution to get some track position. The first 2 guys off pit road, 22, Kurt Busch, 99, Carl Edwards, trying to pick their way back toward the front as we've hit the 54-lap mark. Here at Bristol, Matt Kenseth leads the Irwin Tools Night Race. Matt Kenseth leading and in lap traffic at the Bristol Motor Speedway, 62 laps into the 500-lap event tonight. A look at who's in contention to race for the big money in the Sprint Summer Showdown presented by the HTC Evo 3D. That's next week at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Kyle Busch is the fans' vote, their favorite to win the race. Why not, with all the victories he's gotten here at Bristol? But Matt Kenseth currently leads, trying to join the group that includes Paul Menard, Brad Keselowski, Marcos Ambrose, and Kyle Busch. Driver wins one of these build-up races and then wins the Atlanta race next week. The driver, their charity, and a fan win $1 million apiece. Check it out at sprint.com/speed. It's going to be fun in Atlanta next Sunday.
Oh, that's going to be very, very interesting. Especially if we get another winner here tonight that has a good track record at Atlanta.
Kyle running right behind Kevin Harvick, who you ride on board with now, and Jeff Gordon. Here's the guy that was leading till the pit stops. And you talk about the importance of track position. Now Gordon's back there in 8th place.
Yeah, he's started to make a little headway now that we've run a number of laps under green here, though. So things have gotten spread out a little bit, and he can pass these cars one by one instead of having a whole group of them right there. Makes it a little easier as a driver.
It's more fun when they have to pass them 3 by 3, like, say, Matt Kenseth is here.
Yeah, that's the thing. With Matt running into all this lap traffic, he's not going anywhere, so Gordon will be able to kind of run up back to the leaders. And you can see in that shot, Tony Stewart.
14 car.
That's not good.
So we heard it reported that they took a lot of stuff from Hendrick Motorsports, his home teammate, but I understand that a lot of the setup that they took was from this 48 car right here, who's just getting passed for that second spot.
Kyle Busch trying to move toward the front in the 18 car. I didn't watching practice here on Friday, I didn't see that sparkle out of the 18 car that you normally think of with Kyle Busch at this racetrack. Now, I'm not ruling him out by any stretch.
Don't make that mistake, because last night he won that nationwide race without a winning car. I mean, he really drove a great race, and he knows his track probably better than most.
Started 23rd, he's up to 10th right now. And one of the cars that did not pit on that caution. How about the 18, Jamie?
Well, you're right, Alan. These cars, the JGR cars, were struggling in practice. I talked to Dave Rogers this morning, crew chief for Kyle Busch. He told me the scary thing about tonight, they never had a chance to do a long run in practice. They were so focused on getting this car to turn better. Now, so far tonight, Kyle says the car ain't great, but it's all right. Dave.
Jamie, Kevin Harvick's running in 9th position. He stayed out on that last pit stop. They considered pitting, but Gil Martin told me this morning one thing he doesn't want to do is pit and put on 2 tires. He said, I'd rather stay out, keep our track position when we can, and when he does pit, put 4 tires on it. Right now the car has been both sideways and tight, but Kevin's been manhandling it pretty well and making up spots.
Kevin right now, you see, running in the 9th position. Speaking of manhandling, Kyle Busch, you see his hands swapping around inside that car a couple laps ago?
These drivers are working here. This tire's probably a little hard, and the things they're having to do to make the car do what they want is freeing it up quite a bit. So they're having to really work the steering wheel through the corners.
So you saw Brad Keselowski get 2nd place back from Jimmy Johnson a little while ago. He's a 2.5 seconds behind Matt Kenseth, who continues to try and pick his way through some of the lap traffic at the tail end of the field. He has caught cars including Tony Stewart and Clint Boyer and David Gilliland and David Stremme, and is about to put Casey Mears a lap down right there. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series running at Bristol Motor Speedway, still early in the going in tonight's 500-lap event. Matt Kenseth out in front, one of 4 different drivers that have swapped the lead during tonight's event. And a look at the DirecTV NASCAR head-to-head knockout. Of course, tonight, the fastest 4 trying to settle it out. And if Matt is able to hang on, he'll be the DirecTV NASCAR head-to-head knockout champion. Matt racing for money for a charity, and fans brackets also that were entered for the competition could get somebody $1 million. Right now, Kenseth knocking him out, but not by much. Brad Keselowski right behind him.
No wonder he's driving so hard tonight. Yeah. He took that lead from Brad Keselowski. He took it on purpose, too, man. He is on a mission.
There's the gap, 1st to 2nd.
Brad's got it back together now. You know, his car was really loose for a few laps after that restart, but it's coming around pretty good.
Yeah, and you find that when you're on the restart, you're knowing that you've got to go harder, trying to drive it a little harder. And then once you're able to get out kind of in the clear, which Brad is right now, you can drive your pace, and it's a lot better.
13th and 14th places. And others just in front.
Yeah, I was watching that 18 car of Kyle Busch. He was working the racetrack. You know, he was really loose on the bottom, trying to pass some cars. Saw him back up right there, just try a few things. Looks like he's found something a little bit here, and he's been able to get by Marcus Ambrose. He's got a lot of traffic in front of him.
Mark Martin right there, right in front of Busch and Ambrose, and then you've got Truex.
Yeah, and Truex is being extremely patient with his teammate there, David Rudeman. He's really holding him up, and he's tried to get underneath. He's tried to go around the top side and hasn't been able to make either one work.
38 cars, Travis Kvapil not on the lead lap. And this whole group of cars racing pretty hard from 9th spot on back, Dave.
It looks good, Alan. I don't know how you feel if you're Martin Truex there. He gets out of the middle right there, and a little wheel right there, too. A little free right now. Not bad. Remember, he did not pit on the first round, so right now Truex just trying to hang in there and make his way forward.
At the point out the window by the teammate there. And so Truex picks up that position from Rudeman. That'll be 10th spot. Again, with a lot of company right behind him still. Andy, let's talk about these guys that didn't pit and a fuel range. We may see some green flag pit stops if we don't see some contact and a spin.
Yeah, it's still quite a few laps before they have to make that green flag stop. Of course, Jeff Gordon and some of the other ones pitted under that last caution, so they go longer. But some of the guys that stayed out, they can probably go about, 30, 40 more laps probably before they need to come down pit road.
Guys here at an outside number of about 135 at the very outside.
That probably is an outside number, especially for the cars in that first run, because they have all the pace laps and everything in the warm-up.
So guys fighting pretty hard for spots in traffic, trying to keep up with those Fast Five. Matt Kenseth leading back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Sunset in Thunder Valley. The lights are on inside the Bristol Motor Speedway, where the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race has just gone under caution for a second time. That is right at the bottom of turn number 1. And I don't know what it is, but I know if I was out there in a race car, I don't want to be running over it.
Yeah, it was up in the groove and got knocked to that point, but obviously something that had to be gotten out of the way. Certainly not exactly part of the groove, but doesn't need to get run over at some point in time.
Those guys that were looking at those green flag pit stops,
now they make them under caution. See a lot of cars on pit road this time.
The split pit procedures, they head down the backstretch pit road first. Dave?
The first is the 43rd pit box. That'll be Jeff Gordon giving up 6th position. His car is pretty good, according to the driver. A little free in and off, tight at the start, but it came to him. Air pressure adjustment, 4 tires, Sunoco fuel. Jamie?
And the 48 got that track position early by staying out. Wedge adjustment, 4 tires said the car is up on top of the racetrack. Just too loose for him, but it worked. It was a good stop. 4 tires, he's down and away. Vince?
The 17 of Matt Kenseth, he's been your leader. He says it's tight in the middle and a little bit too free off. It's a 4-tire change. Top of your screen there. Also going to make an air pressure adjustment. Doc.
Middle of your screen, Brad Keselowski, hottest driver in the month of August, says don't touch a thing. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel. The car is great, turning really well. Bottom of your screen, Ryan Newman says I can't put wheel in the car. It's free on exit. Got to put a half a round of wedge in the left rear, 4 tires to try to tighten up so he can get that throttle on it coming off of the turn. Guys?
Race off pit road. Looks like Jimmy Johnson. See if there's any speeding penalties handed out in a minute. Come back for the restart and follow up on anything from those pit stops. A lot of action on this tight pit road at Bristol.
Back at Bristol Motor Speedway, the world's fastest half mile, and so far tonight, the action has been fast and furious. A couple of cautions, a couple of adjustments made on pit road. Right now, Jimmy Johnson will line up as your leader, but coming off with some pit stops, some drama for Brad Keselowski. Too fast exiting pit road.
Yeah, we saw him really accelerate real hard, getting ready to leave pit road. He looked awful fast.
22, excuse me, the 22, Kurt Busch exiting pit road. But it is Brad Keselowski who will line up next to Jimmy Johnson on this restart. Alan?
So Kurt Busch, 7th at the caution flag, Nicole. Came off the pit lane 5th. He's going to restart 27th. Ouch. Johnson and Keselowski for the green flag. Jeff Gordon trying to make some quick work on this restart. Working on Brad Keselowski for 3rd.
Well, Brad had a good run there, but Carl Edwards had struggled a little getting off of turn 2, and Brad couldn't slide up in front of Gordon like he wanted to.
If they get a really good through the middle, you can see that 2-car working. It's a good run off the corner. Now he gets up top. So he's going to go right by Carl.
Carl's really struggling here. He just can't seem to get in the throttle right there in the center of the corner where you need to be going hard.
Dale, I had a couple of guys when I was walking through the pit area this morning talk to me about how with all the rubber, I mean, this racetrack is a white concrete, and as the cars run on it over the weekend, it works rubber into it. You see the darker color. When they run around it under caution, the race cars actually pull some of the rubber back out of the surface, and sometimes, depending on your car's handling, it takes a few laps to get that going again.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this at Michigan last week, kind of the same thing right here, and you really have to clean your tires off is one thing, and then wait till that groove gets the rubber back down on it to make your car feel like it did the time before.
Yeah, it really is bad if you're staying out. If you stay out on the track with hot tires, it really picks that rubber up. But when you come out on stickers and cold tires, it's not quite as bad, but the track takes just a little bit of time to get going. But if you're out there on hot tires, it'll definitely pick it up. And you can see it in this white track. You really see it pick the rubber up, and then the track cleans itself up.
3 races to the field determination for the chase for the championship. We talked earlier about Tony Stewart and Clint Boyer, 2 of the bubble guys, getting a lap down early in this race. Denny Hamlin making his way forward, a guy who's had a few bad weeks and needs a good result.
Well, they sure do need a good result, and this hasn't been, we talk about how good Denny is on the short tracks. This hasn't been one of his best tracks, but this is a time that you just kind of got to pull yourself up and say you're going to help will that car into a good finishing position.
But he's under a lot of pressure right now. I mean, it's a ton of pressure on that team to perform and get in this chase.
Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth as Kenseth goes to 4th. And Edwards back to 5th. What are they saying about that 99, Jamie?
Well, I talked to his crew chief, Bob Osborne, this morning about Carl. He was fastest in both practice sessions, and he just barely missed getting the pole. But Bob told me the thing they were worried about, Alan, is exactly what you said. The rubber being laid on the track. He didn't know how, as you see the 24 trying to duck inside the 2, didn't know how that would impact their race car. Well, it is making Carl very loose, and that is why he's struggling tonight. Vince?
The 16 of Greg Biffle has a flat tire, so he has to coming in under green. They're going to go ahead and make the 4-tire change. Bad break for Biffle.
I'll say he was 20th. We'll see how many laps he ends up down because of that pit stop under the green flag. I guess always looking for the silver lining. It's early. Got time to get some free passes, things like that, and try and get back on the lead lap.
Yeah, it's tough here, though, because there'll be a lot of cars that are trying to get those free passes.
Change for second. Sorry, Andy Gordon by Keselowski. Gotta like the look of that 24 car.
Well, it does look good. It does look good tonight. Anytime he's been vulnerable is when he was back in traffic, when he made that pit stop, a lot of cars stayed out.
Yeah, and even then, he was one of the few that we've seen be able to make that pass on the inside. So he's able to carry good speed through the center and get a good enough bite off the corner to complete the pass.
Didn't mention David Starr got the free pass at that last caution. Matt Kenseth leading that last segment of the race. Now he's back in traffic in 4th. Jimmy Johnson, the race leader in Thunder Valley. Caution out, 3rd time tonight here at Bristol. Travis Quapple's car with smoke coming from it. It had smoke coming from it on the racetrack when he pulled to the bottom lane and has gone behind the wall. Caution giving Mike Bliss in the 51 car, the Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass. First driver lap down. Mike back on the lead lap. He's in 30th place. We're back for the restart after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Bristol Motor Speedway in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on the world's fastest half mile. Kind of been a fast and furious race so far. Already got 133 laps in the books. And we are working the 3rd caution after Travis Quapple went up in smoke. Talking about cars picking up rubber under the caution. Check this out.
Yeah, you can see right here, these hot tires, all the cars stayed out, picked up all of the rubber that was in the groove. This is where the cars have been running under caution. You can see it clean the track completely off. Tim, can you tell us more about that and the Craftsman Tech Garage?
Yeah, Andy, we happen to have a handful of it right here, buddy. When the cars go off on the racetrack, they look like this. They're brand new, but like Andy said, when they get up over about 250 degrees, this debris that comes off the tires, it affixes to the tires right there, and it gets real slick, especially on the restarts. Guys?
So we'll see who's slipping and sliding around trying to put that rubber back down on the racetrack in these first few laps after we go green. Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon. Through that lap.
It doesn't take them long to put that rubber right back down on the track.
Hey, I need to clean up one small detail from before. Greg Biffle, the green flag pit stop, lost 2 laps, kicked him down to 38th place. Then he made a stop under this caution, got busted for speeding exiting pit road.
Just not a good night for Greg Biffle, and he was needing to have a good one. Trying to stay up there in the points far enough in case he could get a victory in these last couple of races.
Try and make his way into that chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Brad Keselowski, Ryan Newman, 4th place. Kyle Busch lurking right there.
Yeah, I've been watching Kyle Busch. His car didn't look all that good. Looks like they made some adjustments on the marks, though. Just kind of what we've been talking about. The same thing he did at Michigan last week. Kind of let the race come to him. Picked off a couple of cars here and there. His pit crew did a great job. Now he's got himself up there battling for a top 5 spot.
You would probably agree with this statement that this is one of the racetracks where the onboard camera doesn't do justice to how hard the driver's working.
No, it really doesn't. Just how much Kyle looks like he's on a Saturday night drive here, and as we watch him, but it just doesn't show how much he goes down in the seat, how much it really wants to throw your head to the side. But they've got these neck head supports in these cars now that where it's right against your helmet, so you don't see all of that happen. But this is tremendously physical racetrack on the driver. When you run 500 laps, you're spent.
And it's no different than any other sport. I've seen a lot of golfers make that game look easy, and I can tell you firsthand it's not. Because I'm not good at it at all. But I've seen a lot of golfers make it look easy.
See, the front guys have gotten single file. Jeff Burton was one of the guys that made a pit stop on that last caution, 31 car, and he is trying to use those fresher tires to make up some ground. He's in 16th right now.
You see Kurt Busch down there on the inside, who got busted for speeding the time before, so it allowed him to get caught up and try to make up some ground too.
Guys who pitted on that last caution: Montoya, David Starr, Logano, Burton, Bobby Labonte, Kurt Busch, Casey Kane, the Casey Mears, Greg Biffle, Terry Labonte, Clint Boyer, David Stremme, and Andy Lally. Talk about that speeding penalty. Kurt Busch trying to make up some ground, Dave.
And I just wanted you to know they were one of the cars that pitted under this last caution. Reason being, they made adjustments last time, but the car was still going in the wrong direction. Won't turn in the middle of the corner. When it exits the corner, it wants to snap loose. So they made another adjustment and 4 fresh tires for Kurt.
All right, Dave, and there he sits trying to pick his way forward, 17th position, and finding out whether that adjustment was in the right direction or not. There's a little group of cars here. Junior, 88, David Reagan, Kevin Harvick, all in the mix there. While Jimmy Johnson leads Jeff Gordon and Matt Kenseth at the front of the Irwin Tools Night Race at Bristol Motor Speedway.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by Toyota.
Back at Bristol Motor Speedway, where we are 156 laps in, Jimmy Johnson is your leader. Now, Sprint brings you an inside look at the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. There's Jimmy Johnson out front, and the guy making the most moves right now, the 56 driver, Martin Truex Jr. Right now, he is up 18 positions. Truex is on the move. A couple of the guys who are not, Clint Boyer and Tony Stewart, right now battling for weight, 31st.
Oh, yeah, those two guys really got me concerned. I do not know what's going on, why their cars are handling this bad. But, guys, they're about 3 to 4 tenths of a second slower than the leaders right now, and that's a lot right here at this particular racetrack. Although, Clint Boyer's got himself in a position for the lucky dog if it does come out, Brad.
Yeah, but they're a lap down, and it's really confusing. Both of these guys are really, really good at this racetrack, so I expect them to make their way up into the top 15, 20 early on. They are really struggling.
And it's interesting because both of these guys are trying to get into the chase. As they run right now, the 33 car is 12th in points. Tony Stewart is still in the top 10, but he only has a 23-point advantage over Brad Keselowski. Let's get you back to the front of the field. Nationwide Insurance is going to get you caught up to speed. Jamie Little, what's going on with that 48?
Well, a little bit of strategy and a very good pit crew got Jimmy Johnson in position. Now he's leading. Remember, early in the year, this team struggled on their pit stops at various races. The biggest problem
morning, crew chief Alan Gustafson told me that at times they were as good as anybody in practice. At times, they were a 20th place car. He said it wasn't any general direction, but when we hit it, we were pretty good. So he thinks they got the right adjustments, and I'd say so. Running second, Jeff saying the car is just about where it wants to be balance-wise. Vince?
The 17 of Matt Kenseth, he's a two-time winner here at Bristol, and he led 68 laps earlier tonight. He's having some concerns with his brakes.
Starts the same, gets looser quicker, and I hardly have any brakes, so we're getting already. Yeah, this ain't the same car we ran at Pocono, is it? It's probably a dumb question. No. It just feels just like that, and I can't even use them. They just get hot, and I can't even, seriously, like not hardly touching them.
If he's having that much issue with his brakes at this stage, imagine how it might be later in the race. Remember, it's a long one here at Bristol, Doc.
Yeah, hard to believe that Brad Keselowski has never had a top 10 finish here at Bristol, but Brad has a very, very good race car. He said from watching tape over the years, he saw that Kyle Busch and Mark Martin both run the bottom of the racetrack. So Brad's car right now, good on the bottom, it may be better on long runs up top. You see him dive to the bottom of the racetrack, he's making a lot of time down there because not much traffic running on the inside. Now behind him, in fifth spot, our pole sitter, Ryan Newman. Newman said the car was very free. After about 40 laps, they came in on the last pit stop, had it around the wedge. The car is better. He can use the steering wheel, but still just a kick free trying to get off the corner. Jamie.
Now Kyle Busch is running 6th right now. He started 23rd. He had a meeting this morning with his crew chief and told him what he learned last night in the Nationwide Series. The car would tighten up. Well, it's already done that early in these laps. They've been trying to free him up. You see him sawing the wheel there. They've been trying to adjust, but he continues to fight that car through the center and exit. Behind him, Carl Edwards. He too is talking about the Nationwide race last night, saying this car is terrible loose. And even though they made those adjustments on the last round of stops, he said it has made him worse. Dave?
Jamie, Martin Truex might be smiling in that blue and yellow 56 right now. He started 27th on the day. They stayed out during the first caution period, has only been on pit road one time for 4 tires and minor adjustments, and he's challenging the 99 now. Vince?
You talk about a little guy running up with the big boys. How about Regan Smith? Been in the top 10 all night long after starting 12th. Remember, he won at Darlington, finished 3rd at Indianapolis, having another good run tonight, but they're telling him as well, manage the brakes. They're starting to glow on the 78. Doc?
And behind him in 10th spot, road racing ace in Watkins, Glenn Winter, Marcos Ambrose in the 9 car. You wonder why Marcos, who came from a road racing background, is so good on the concrete. He says it's because I'm able to move the car around and find some grip. Well, he's found some grip now, hanging on to a top 10 spot, hoping maybe for a top 5. Remember, he finished 3rd here in the August race back in 09. Nicole?
A couple of interesting names there as Nationwide Insurance gets us up to speed. 29 cars on the lead lap, but that right there, Jimmy Johnson, the 5-time Sprint Cup Series champion, is your leader here at Bristol.
For the lead at Bristol, the Hendrick teammates, 5-time champion Jimmy Johnson, and the guy who wants 5, Jeff Gordon.
He is trying. He's run hard here, but trying to make this pass is difficult. They've been in traffic so many times. Looks like Jimmy's going to give him the spot now. See Tony Stewart right in front of that, trying to keep from going 2 laps down here.
That was your mid-race break. Right, if you're Jimmy Johnson, you just gave Jeff Gordon a break for that pass for the lead. Later in the race, that wouldn't quite be.
No, that'd be a lot different here at about 200 laps.
Trying to put Tony Stewart another lap down. Watch Jeff in the lap car of Andy Lally here.
Bristol, little tire smoke, little rub.
Yeah, a little close racing. Hey, when you're running fast with these cars on this track, as they obviously are, you just have to have all of the racetrack, and you're not even totally under control sometimes going down the straightaway once you think you've got it aimed perfectly.
Matt Kenseth taking 2nd place from Jimmy Johnson, seeing Tony Stewart get another lap down. Let's follow up on this 14 story, Dave.
And the story remains the same as it was in qualifying. A loose race car. You see Gordon getting by there. And guys, they've been talking about this race car here at this track loosening as the runs go on. That's a trend they didn't see a few years ago. So it's a worrisome thing if you've got a loose race car now because it just seems to get worse, and that's what's happening for Tony.
Well, thanks for a long, long night here at Bristol. When you can't really maintain these lap times, you're just kind of almost in the way. You see Tony just trying to get out of the way of these leaders. And it's really his prospects of getting these laps back not very good.
So 33rd place for Tony Stewart at the moment at Bristol. This is not one of his better racetracks statistically for Tony, but you don't expect to see this.
No, absolutely not.
Jimmy Johnson there going by Stewart. Jamie?
Well, the first lap of this race, he said he was loose up off the racetrack. They fixed him up, and this is what he said on the radio.
Tight late center rolling. Trying to stay off the brakes there. I've been off. 10-4 man, the boys will fix you up soon.
He's saying he is tight through the center and exit, trying to stay off the brakes, and that has cost him a couple positions. Jack and Al's just telling him, we'll fix you up. Just be patient and pump the brakes.
Yeah, that's one thing, though. Those brakes getting hot can really hurt your car through the center of the corner. And that's what they're trying to work on. It takes a lot of discipline from the driver to try to lay off the brakes because it does affect the car the longer you run with those brake rotors glowing red.
Yeah, there's a real balance to that, Andy, in trying to do that. You know, you want to go fast, but to do that, to get the car to turn in the center, you need to slow it down just a little bit. But you're only making and compounding the problem by doing that and getting more heat and air into that right front tire.
So Jeff Gordon back out in front here at Bristol tonight. He hasn't won yet on the new configuration. Bristol Motor Speedway. Gordon looking for a victory tonight. You watch him run around the world's fastest half mile from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear's learned, making tires for the proving grounds of NASCAR, inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Jeff Gordon says that since they went to this configuration racetrack and this style of race car, he's really struggled here to get the win, and he says it's a real personal goal of his to conquer that challenge. Looking good tonight. Good race here. Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, 56 and 18. 6th and 7th places.
Yeah, Martin Truex having a really good night here in this 56 car. He's run Kyle Busch down. Kyle's been able to go pretty good up on this top side. He struggles a little bit as they get to some of the lap traffic, and Truex gets right to his bumper.
See Carl Edwards back in there, 99 also. Carl up toward the front of this race earlier, running as high as second. And right now showing in the 8th place. Jamie McMurray running 9th. Greg Biffle going down another lap. Speeding penalty, unscheduled stop for a vibration for Biffle earlier, compounding his troubles on the night. It's Gordon leading in the Irwin Tools night race at Bristol. Coverage of Major League Baseball continues on ESPN. First on Sunday Night Baseball at 8 Eastern. Two teams in division races meet. Torrey Hunter leads the Angels against Josh Hamilton and the Rangers. Then on Monday Night Baseball at 7 Eastern, Ryan Howard and the Phillies head to Cincinnati to take on Joey Votto and the Reds. It's Major League Baseball. ESPN Sunday, ESPN2 Monday night. Both games available online at ESPN3.com. Playing some night baseball there, doing some night racing here. Bristol, Tennessee. And the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series where Jeff Gordon leads, not quite yet at halfway through tonight's event.
Well, we talked about drivers that were good on the old Bristol, some that were good on the new Bristol. Coming into tonight, Jeff Gordon had only led 5 laps on this new surface. I think he's kind of figured it out tonight.
Yeah, I think Alan Gustafson has done a nice job in working with Jeff at some of these racetracks that maybe he struggled with this car, this particular car at. And I think it has more to do with the car than what it has to do with the actual racing surface here. But I think they've got things pretty well worked out here tonight.
We'll see the gap from Gordon to Matt Kenseth, who runs second in that purple 17 car. Vince, little interesting story unfolding with that 17.
It's amazing, Alan, that Kenseth actually is running some laps faster than Gordon when he's not in that traffic. But Kenseth continues to be perturbed about the way his brakes are reacting.
Not many brakes, Jimmy. No front brakes. I can be able to race for a championship if they can't figure out how to put brakes in these cars here. You have to buy something different or something here. No front brakes at
garage. Hey, Brewer, what are they doing with those brakes in the 17?
Hey, the reason these guys need a lot of brakes, they've got 200 more horsepower than the Nationwide cars. But you have a choice. You can run a 6-piston caliper, which gives you a phenomenal amount of brakes on the front of the car. Or these guys sometimes use the intermediate setup where it's a 4-piston caliper. But if you don't have good front brakes, that's how you stop a car. That's the reason the nose goes down. And if you're trying to stop it with a lot of rear brake, the car's going to get really loose, and Matt's going to have his hand full here the rest of the night. Guys?
Yeah, and Timmy's got a long way to go if he's struggling with the brakes. Yeah, he's running second right now. We got 287 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, and you just have to back off and discipline yourself. Let the car roll just a little bit more, and obviously getting your car to handle better will help that. Now, granted, he's running second. A lot of people behind him, but he's doing pretty good.
Always on the pit box, I would be watching those rotors all night long here and really telling my driver to really be careful with that brake pedal, because you don't feel like you're using a lot of brakes, but you're going so fast. You are using more than you think, and it does aggravate the chassis. You can see right from that shot that Jeff Gordon's brakes are glowing a little bit, and he's leading the race.
Yeah, and part of it is this particular car again, and I'm not down on this car, but because of the way it's designed and the way that you have to drive it and things you have to do with it, it requires a little more brake action, and so that's why the drivers have to be extremely careful.
Jeff Gordon over 2,500 laps led here at Bristol in his career with the laps that he's led tonight. Puts him in 5th place on the all-time list of laps led at this track. How about these names to be up on that list with? Yarborough, Earnhardt, Wallace, and Waltrip.
Pretty good group right there, I'd say.
Russell, you know what it's like to lead a lot of laps around here?
Well, I do. And one thing I'm watching, I hear all this brake talk going on. I see all these rotors cherry red and stuff. And guys, every time I've seen rotors cherry red, it's always been because cars don't have enough grip. And they fly down the straightaways, they slam on the brakes to try to get the cars under control. Now look, this tire that Goodyear's brought, it's a really good tire, but it's real evident that it's pretty hard, because I'm looking at all these lap times, and all these lap times are so close from the top all the way to the bottom. It's incredible. So that's a lack of grip. These guys are flying down the straightaways, getting all of these brakes to slow these things down because they won't stick good to the track. And DJ, you know as well as I do, if you can fly down the corner, roll off the brake, and just coast in there, roll out the throttle, and coast in, you won't use much brakes. But that's not what's going on tonight.
No, it really isn't, Rusty. And again, this car that's a little higher center of gravity and all of that stuff makes it more difficult. But you're exactly right. That's what you have to do. You have to make an adjustment as a driver. And as wide as this racetrack has gotten, I would think that it'd be a little bit easier to make all of that happen and rolling through the corner.
Well, you would think so, but it's not happening right now. And these guys, you're just going to have to back these corners up just a little bit, I call it, and try to cool these brakes down. That will help a little bit. But things happen awful fast here at Bristol, and you're going to have to run hard but be patient at the same time.
Running hard and be patient at Bristol. That's a hard recipe to master, that's for sure. Our ESPN on ABC coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series tonight from Bristol, Tennessee. It is 500 laps around the world's fastest half mile. We're just shy of the halfway point in tonight's event. Lap leaders tonight, Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon and Matt Kenseth, just about equally sharing the time out in front of this event. Pole sitter Ryan Newman only leading the opening 4 laps. Brad Keselowski leading just a handful of laps in this one as well. Just 3 cautions in the event, 2 for debris, 1 for a smoking engine by Travis Kvapil. And the championship picture taking a bit of a shuffle tonight as far as those who are in the race to make the chase. Both Clint Boyer and Tony Stewart are 2 laps down in this race and having a really tough night in Bristol. It's been a long green flag run. Might see some green flag pit stops shortly. Won't be long. We'll come back to cover them. It's Gordon leading in the night race at Bristol. Lots of tight confines racing here at Bristol Motor Speedway. You're riding with Matt Kenseth, the second place car, trying to follow Jeff Gordon up through some of the lap traffic and stay in contact with the front runner. And it's almost time for the pit crews of Gordon and Kenseth and the rest to go to work for green flag stops. The AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year award determined by the winner of each race, the fastest pit time, and your vote. Be sure to text the car number of your favorite to 234-567 for your pit crew choice. Those green flag pit stops have begun, Doc.
And Paul Menard becomes the first driver to come back here on the front straightaway. The car very tight in the middle of the corner. Can't get it to turn. Getting
43 of A.J. Allmendinger has been running 12th. He said it's tight in the center, losing rear grip, 4 tires and an air pressure adjustment for the 43. Matt Kenseth is coming in the 17. Kenseth says he needs more rear grip, loose in the center and loose off. He's also been having brake issues, so they're going to put a round of wedge in it. It's a 4-tire change for Kenseth. Doc?
Marcos Ambrose coming down 30 miles an hour. Remember, his crew chief has won here 4 times with Rusty Wallace. The car 3 on exit. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment on Marcos' car. 4 tires. Right side tires on, left side tires going on. Dave.
Leader Jeff Gordon on pit road. He said, I need a little bit more to lean on. That'll be a wedge adjustment in the left rear. 4 tires full of fuel. Jamie.
In the 48, Jimmy Johnson, you heard him talking. He is tight, having trouble, especially the higher he got on the track. 4-tire stop for Jimmy Johnson. They will fill it up. They got it done on that first stop. Down and away. Doc?
Pole center, Ryan Newman still says I'm a touch free on exit. We've got to be able to make an adjustment. And we'll make an adjustment on the track car as well as an air pressure change. Still can't use full throttle coming off with a little bit handicapped. Further up pit road, the 2-car, Brad Keselowski on, getting a 4-tire change. Brad said the car has been really, really good. It's a little bit snug in the middle of the corner. The track tightening up as the night goes on. Jamie.
Carl Edwards in the 99 saying he was loose, just like last night. He's terrible adjusting on this car. He couldn't wait to come in and bid. 4-tire stop for Carl Edwards, Vince.
78 of Regan Smith. Been a good night, the Furniture Row car, but they need a little bit more grip. Still too loose. They made an air pressure adjustment and a 4-tire change. The 1 car, Jamie McMurray, they've been running up in the front group tonight as well, but he says it's still too loose. It's a 4-tire change with an air pressure adjustment for McMurray. Dave?
Martin Truex Jr. had been running in the 8th position. A 4-tire change, air pressure adjustment. The car's still just a little bit bouncy for Truex. He's down and gone. Jamie.
Denny Hamlin in the 11, just slow and steady. He's been making up space. Car is loose right now. That is the call for Denny Hamlin. They just want to take what the car is going to give them tonight, not push the envelope, Doc.
Juan Pablo Montoya, they have made major adjustments on this car with 2 previous stops, including taking a rubber out of the rear. The car is really starting to take off. Juan says the car is a rocket ship coming off turn 4. Dave.
Kurt Busch is on pit road. That car had been improving for him over that run, so a little bit better than he was before. It'll be a 4-tire change, just a slight air pressure adjustment for Kurt Busch. Jamie.
Kyle Busch, who won the nationwide race last night, making history, saying he thought he was going to wreck. He needs more turn on exit. The car has not been that great. Adjustment for Kyle Busch as they work the left side of the car. Fill it up with fuel. 4 tires for Kyle Busch.
Joey Logano leads. Now he comes to pit road for a scheduled stop. 30-mile-an-hour pit road speed, Doc.
And he pitted on lap 131, Alvin, because they thought they had an axle broken and maybe a rear end problem. The car was snapping sideways. They came in, put 4 tires, and didn't see a thing. They also checked for a loose wheel with no issues. And now Joey Logano said the car is really, really good. Great pit stop, 13.3 seconds. He's away.
See Logano going right back up onto the racetrack. Green flag stops. You don't have to do the whole loop around. There's your leader, David Starr.
He's really run a nice race tonight. Been very competitive, pretty fast car. Seen him, guys that are regulars in this that we expect to do well here at Bristol haven't been able to run with David.
Then David Gilliland and Andy Lally have not yet pitted under this run of green flag stops. There is David Starr, triple duty this weekend, all 3 races.
Yeah, he might have missed the commitment line there by just a little bit.
I think he's okay on that. I think as long as you get the left side tires below that, you're good. Doc?
The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series veteran out of Texas, excited about coming to Bristol and running a nationwide race last night and running tough tonight. Right side of your screen is the 17 car of Kenseth, our leader. Left side, the car that was leading, David Starr. Very, very deliberate, a lengthy pit stop. Remember, this is not a cruise that some of the other guys have this full time. Down off the jack, and he is away.
Matt Kenseth was 0.8 of a second behind Jeff Gordon. When the cycle of pit stops have begun, now he's out in front of Gordon by 1.1 seconds. Kenseth is the leader. We're back to Bristol after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Just past halfway in the Irwin Tools night race for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Bristol. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. There is the fight for the lead in lap traffic. 17, Matt Kenseth. 24, Jeff Gordon. They have just put Kevin Harvick in the 29, 2 laps down.
Kenseth might be struggling just a little bit. Gordon was a second back whenever we went to commercial there, and he's been able to run him down. Try to take the lead here.
Yeah, don't worry about 14. Tell me about the 17. I just don't want you to run over this guy. You're not going to have to worry about us running over anybody. It's going to take a lot for this baby to come in. I'm pulling on the entry real bad right now.
Yeah, it looked like it took about 3 laps.
That's a while to him.
Yeah, it's there now. Yeah, that must be what it takes tonight. Is you just got to have a car that's tight, really tight, especially on the new tires, to be good and not be loose longer in the run.
Kenseth kind of squaring off the exit of that corner. Sorry.
Yeah, I've seen Matt drive some different places a lot like this, where he lets his car roll. Now he's trying to let it roll. You can see not getting in the corner quite as hard, but he's really getting a good run off the corner. He's able to keep Jeff behind him right now.
He doesn't have any brakes, so he has to back off.
That's exactly right. Might have found something that's working pretty good. He's out front.
This long green flag run that we've been in this race since we went back racing just after the lap 129 caution as Gordon completes the pass for the lead, has put a lot of guys a lap down. How about Dale Jr. in that 88, Mark Martin in the 5. All these guys all of a sudden are behind.
Yeah, and what happens, you get drivers like Matt Kenseth and Jeff Gordon who are really good getting on and off of pit road. Their pit crews do a great job. If you're off just a little bit, then you get to find yourself that lap down.
Looks like Paul's got a tire rub on that left front. Made some contact somewhere. Yeah, that could be trouble for him. Get a lot of compression in the front suspension through the corner. You see that right there. There's not a lot of roll in the body. The bank is so high, you just get a lot of suspension compression.
Menard with that big Indianapolis win. Talk about that wild card spot into the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup.
Got a little tire rub, Paul. Try and run the bottom, see if it'll knock it out.
But you got to be inside the top 20 in points to be able to be eligible for that wild card. And if Menard has to go to pit road here.
Yeah, he's trying to, what he's saying is, Kirky's saying, run the bottom, try to knock it out. If you can really hit a good bump, that tire pushes that fender out, then it quits rubbing. That's a good thing. But, you know, the way this, if it keeps rubbing like this, he's going to have a problem.
Yeah. His idea of a little tire rubbing mine are a little bit different. Yeah. I think that's pretty severe there myself.
Pretty strong.
By the way, that continuing a tough night for Menard. He was running 9th when he got a speeding penalty earlier in the race, and they lost all their track position.
Not only Martin Truex gets by Kyle Busch, that entire last run, he followed Kyle up through as they made their way towards the front, but Truex showed a lot of patience, and now with this set of tires after this pit stop is able to get by.
That's 8th place that Truex just took from Kyle.
Truex having a really good night. His car's handling well. He's run a good race so far.
56 cars started back in 27th place. And again, he just is moved up into the number 8 position at this point. Their problem's been finishing the job.
That's it. That's the whole key. Yeah. Yeah, they've been in this position a number of times, just over halfway with a pretty good run going. Now let's see if in these last 225 they can make things go pretty good and finish this off and get a nice top 10 or maybe top 5 run.
Now watching the camera on board this car, what do you make of this?
Well, he's dealing with something with his right arm, maybe going to sleep in the corners. You get a lot of that side force, a lot of G-forces here working against your body.
You get that in your hand, it'll actually go to sleep some, like gripping the steering wheel. It looks like Martin is more of a right-handed on the steering wheel. And you were telling me after running the modified that this track's gotten a little bit rougher. And with all that bouncing, it'll literally put your arm to sleep a little bit. So he's just trying to shake that out of there and get the feel back that he needs.
So again, Truex up 19 spots from where he started to where he runs now, inside the top 10.
He's still doing it every lap.
And he's got a long way to go in this race. Tuesday holidays this fall, Tim Allen returns to ABC in a new comedy about a man's man living in a house full of women. Tim Allen's Last Man Standing. Series premiere Tuesday, October 11th, 8 Eastern, 7 Central on ABC.
Working lap 285 here at Bristol, and it's been a typical Bristol night race with a lot of early beating and banging.
Oh, yeah, a lot of beating and banging. The guys trying to get to the front. And these cars are just not handling good, but the guy's really having a tough time. Tony Stewart right there, Brad. I mean, this guy has struggled horribly. He's 33rd right now.
Has stayed around 31 to 33 all night long. It's 3 laps down.
Matt Kenseth spent a lot of time out front. One of the main lap leaders had trouble in the pits early on, also struggling with his brakes. That said, right now, Kenseth is second on the track.
May have found a secret there, not getting on those brakes as hard, back in the corner, just letting that car roll, and he is staying quick.
Jeff Gordon is your leader. He's led 107 laps tonight. Been out front for a while. His teammate, the 48, Jimmy Johnson, is running third. Another strong night for them at this track. Jamie, what's going on with them?
Well, before the pit stop, he said he was tight. The adjustments have helped. He said the center is better. Jack Canals telling his driver, run up higher. Just try it. See if it's any better. So the car getting better as the night goes on for Jimmy Johnson. Nicole?
Championship form?
He's in championship form right now. I mean, he is all these other drivers' worst nightmare right now. This guy has got it going on. We talk about him all the time. He's a second half of the year driver. The car keeps getting better and better. An 05-time champ right now, Brad, is looking fantastic.
And they made the addition to their crew on pit road. Excellent pit stops tonight. Championship.
The other side of the story, Jimmy Johnson runs in third. Then there is Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick is back a couple of laps down. He's in 25th. Dave?
And Nicole, if you ask Kevin about their championship stand right now, he might say something like he said over the radio a few laps ago.
Hey, what? I don't know what we got going on, but we have got to get it figured out. It's clear. To run good 4 months. Been doing the same every week.
Tonight, the car has been mostly loose, mostly hard to handle. Remember last week, a bad pit stop on their first round of pit stops set the tone for the day at Michigan. They actually let go their crew chief coach this week, replaced him, trying to find something, but so far, it hasn't worked for this 29 team.
And as they run right now, Kevin Harvick has fallen 3 spots in the points.
Not good at all. Richard Childress Racing, he's the best right now. Harvick, the guy that's just absolutely terrible right now. Clint Boyer, 37th, 4 laps down. Don't know what's going on there.
Got to be within the Childress cars, because we all know Kevin Harvick is awesome at this racetrack. He is really struggling tonight. All 3 cars are.
Those are the guys who are struggling. Up front is a guy who's been to victory lane 5 times here at Bristol Motor Speedway. We're talking about Jeff Gordon. Will he get number 6 tonight? We'll find out in 205 laps.
Oh, and more.
And Denny Hamlin's involved.
All right, sure. Stay down, Dave. You're leaking.
Back at Bristol, caution is out. David Runeman turned around in turn number 3. A couple of other guys spun behind him, including Denny Hamlin, but they've driven away. There's Paul Menard, one of those who wasn't able to drive away. Is it Newton's law? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. That might be what we see led up to this.
Usually does here at Bristol. Been so hard for these guys to pass.
So that was an action. And is this the reaction?
I think so, right here. Well,
Oh, now he gets
there it is.
Took him a couple to get it done.
We'll see the 11 and the 27 as they tried to slow down come in. That didn't quite get them, but that's as they were trying to slow down. Got together.
As you can see from behind that 00 car, there's a lot of liquid that has come out from that machine and is spread around the bottom of the racetrack. And this cleanup's going to take a couple of minutes. Good news for fans of the sport's most popular driver. That caution gives Junior the Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass. Puts him back on the lead lap. First car a lap down, running in 16th position. Junior back in the hunt. By the way, the gold color on that car, part of celebrating this racetrack's 50th anniversary. And Junior with so many great memories here at this racetrack. Of course, his dad winning here so many times.
Yeah, he's actually run pretty decent tonight. They just got behind on that pit stop under the green flag and got him a lap down.
So pit road is closed. As you can see, that red flashing light top right of your screen.
Yeah, they got a big mess going down pit road from the 00. Leaked a lot of fluids that the cleanup crews have been going down pit road trying to clean it up, so they'll keep the cars on the track while they do it.
And you certainly don't want the cars coming in and out of their pit boxes with crew members around there with all that oil and mess down. Best way to gain track position?
On pit road, and they're getting ready to do it right here.
It is their opportunity.
This is what these crew members live for.
Interesting point here, because this race is so intense. When you're down on pit road, Andy, the noise factor, the communication between the driver and the crew chief. Driver doesn't have much time to communicate to the crew chief what he's doing. And it's so noisy for the crew chief trying to talk to the driver when he's busy at Bristol. A caution and a few laps with pit road closed here.
Oh, yeah, this helps for sure. You can see right here Alan Gustafson talking to Jeff Gordon. This is a great time to talk to your driver. It is hard to communicate, not just with the driver, but with the crew members as well. Getting ready to make these stops, say under green like we saw a while ago. It's almost impossible to kind of relay these messages on how what you want to do to the car on these stops. It's a really good break for everybody just to kind of run around under caution, and especially before they make the stop. Now they get time to talk about what their cars are doing and decide what changes to make.
Yeah, and also helps the driver to be able to kind of get things back in perspective again. Running around here that quick, you need a little bit of a break. Always not. Martin Truex showed us he's one of those that needs a little bit of a break too.
We'll come back when they open pit road. Little Rock'em Sock'em Race Cars has got us under caution here at Bristol Motor Speedway. David Ruderman, David Stremme tangling part one of what was a two-part incident that also saw Denny Hamlin and Paul Menard spin around behind it. Pit road is open. Here come the leaders to the entrance to the backstretch pits. Dave?
What a break for leader Jeff Gordon. He radioed in, holy cow, I think my right front is flat. That was under caution. They'll change four. His car a little bit tight in the middle of the corner. Jamie.
Last stop, they helped the center, but Jimmy said, don't do too much here. It'll sacrifice my exit. They are going to go down on the track bar, make a wedge adjustment. 4 tires for Jimmy Johnson. They jack up the left side, fill him up with Sunoco fuel. All these guys reminding them they're speedy dry all the way down, Doc.
Two-car, Brad Keselowski says the front end of the car is numb. It will not turn. Left bottom of your screen there. They're going to fix it by taking an air pressure change and removing some rear grip to try to get the front of that two-car to turn. Right now, 4 tires going on. There's Kens up top, McMurray middle, and Keselowski bottom as they get ready to come off pit road.
Race off pit road. Matt Kenseth going to get him again.
Looked like he was speeding. I don't know.
Trying to maximize the time between those speed lines. All right, I mentioned the second part of the two-part incident on the racetrack. Let's show you what happened to Paul Menard and Denny Hamlin. Trouble ahead, one saw it faster than the other. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Back at Bristol, getting ready for the restart. Matt Kenseth's crew got him off pit road first. The AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year award. It is Harvick's crew currently in the lead. You can help determine the standings. Vote from your AT&T phone by texting the car number to 234567 for the pit crew you think is fastest and most valuable. Presented by American Ethanol. Jamie McMurray trying to get a piece of this race for the lead, and getting a piece of him is Jeff Gordon in turn 3.
Didn't slow him down, though.
Jimmy Johnson, Carl Edwards, 4th and 5th, 48.99.
This track's coming to Jamie McMurray's car, where Kevin Mannion, the crew chief, is making some great adjustments. That car's really come to life.
Yeah, they struggled a little bit at the start of this race after a lot of people making him kind of one of the favorites, said how good he was in practice yesterday, but he's starting to really show that now.
Looking at some of the action back in the pack. Let me just tidy up a couple of quick details. I mentioned Dale Jr. got the free pass back around on the lead lap. 11 cars took the wave around under this caution, but only one of them got back on the lead lap by doing it. That was Mark Martin in the 5 car. So he has not pitted, and he's shorter on fuel than everybody else.
He's gambling on a quick caution. Try to get that, make that pit stop.
And one final detail, Kurt Busch speeding, exiting pit road.
Again?
Again, 12th to 17th on that one.
After this race is over, he needs to go talk to Matt Kenseth and see how he's doing it, because he's making a lot of time on the pit road. Hate it for Kurt.
A couple of guys getting some notice tonight. Jamie McMurray has not had nearly the season this year that he had last year when he won all the big races, and just a few spots further behind him. AJ Allmendinger having a top 10 night tonight. Martin Truex having a top 10 night tonight. So good to see some of those guys running in the lead pack. There's the Dinger in that 43.
Yeah, he's been really solid all night. And his car looks like on the longer runs that it really stays with him well. He can start to pick off some cars, but fresh tires right now going pretty good.
Just ahead of them, that yellow and black car, Marcos Ambrose in the top 10. Whoop, plunk. I know, just Bristol.
Yeah.
How about Allmendinger, Vince?
Well, it has indeed been a good run for AJ. And, you know, remember, he's working with relatively new crew chief, Greg Irwin, as you see that battle for the lead between Kenseth on the outside and McMurray on the inside. They have been working on that car, that one car. McMurray, Bono Mannion's been busy making changes. They pulled a rubber out. They've made a wedge adjustment, some air pressure, but it looks like Kenseth's going to hold on to him, at least hold on to first place for now. We were talking about A.J. Allmendinger in that 43 running in the top 10. Greg Irwin and Allmendinger working together for just the 5th race since that crew chief change. Irwin told me Allmendinger watched a lot of film with him this week and really went to school on how to get around here better, and he's been more comfortable and better performing this weekend than ever before here at Bristol.
Onboard film. Every time a car carries an onboard camera, that's taped, and the team that carries the camera gets access to that film, and obviously Greg Irwin using that to good use with his driver.
Yeah, you can see lines, how, you know, when you're out there racing, it's really hard as we see a battle for the lead now. Jeff Gordon back to Matt Kenseth, but it's really hard to see sometimes. You might see what a driver's doing for a little bit of time, but to go back and watch this can be very invaluable, and you have to commend AJ for taking the time and doing that and really taking it, putting it to good use.
Well, it's really heating up for the lead. You got top 5, 6 cars running all together.
Yeah, those 5 right there, and Joe Logano up in that 6th spot. Tonight's had a good solid run, but these 5 are really right together.
Some cars that have been up in the top 3 just about all night. Gordon and Kenseth. And Gordon goes back to the point.
Yeah, shows where his car is really strong. Getting through the center of the corner there. Really able to make that pass look pretty easy.
That's fun. Here's Keselowski. Haven't seen him much.
Yeah, he made some noise early in the race. Ran all the way up to second. I think he even actually led a lap or 2. He's coming back to life.
Yeah, and just continuing a solid month here for himself and this race team. And, you know, you have to start thinking about this team. If they're going to continue this type of performance on all different types of racetracks, from road courses to bigger racetracks, you have to talk about them having a chance at a championship. I know this is a young team, but they're really getting it done.
Well, if you look out there for contenders to knock Jimmy off the top, you have to consider this 2 car as one of them. Doc?
And you wanted to ask Brad, well, what is it? What's happened with this team? Is it you getting hurt? You just try to be very patient and use finesse? He said it's a combination of things. He said, yeah, my injuries have caused me to be much more patient with the race car. But that simultaneously, Paul Wolf and these guys have started giving us really, really good race cars. He has never run well here in the Cup car, but having a great run here tonight.
And the other thing thing that Keselowski said here this weekend, Doc, was talking about respect. He said with what he's been through, and remember, the team was there with him at that test when he crashed like that and had to witness all that. With what they've been through, the level of respect that he feels the team has for him, the guys that work on the car, has grown so much. He said it's really made it a fun atmosphere to be around.
Yeah, there's no doubt you'll get a lot of support and guys rallying around you when they see you playing hurt, going that extra mile, so to speak. I'm sure that Brad would be the first to give Paul Wolf a lot of credit. Paul Wolf is a crew chief that was a race driver that's made every driver that he's been with a winning driver. So I think he has to be somebody that you look at and say, this has been part of the big turnaround.
Yeah, I think that's an advantage for a crew chief to have been a driver. It's worked a lot. You can see this working excellent with this two-car and Paul Wolf. I just think it's a good thing to have that kind of experience.
Top 5 tonight, right now, after 3 straight top 3 finishes for that Blue Deuce. And Keselowski hanging in there in this fight for the lead. Jeff Gordon out in front, 165 laps to go in the Irwin Tools night race at Bristol.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by Craftsman. Trust in your hands.
156 laps to go in the night race at Bristol Motor Speedway. Let's see who's in contention to race for some big money in the Sprint Summer Showdown presented by HTC Evo 3D. Fan favorite Kyle Busch is within striking distance, but if Jeff Gordon can hold on to this lead, he'll be eligible for the Sprint Summer Showdown finale at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And if he wins, a fan, the driver, and their charity will walk away with $1 million each. Tonight's winner will be going up against the other qualifiers, Paul Menard, Brad Keselowski, Marcus Ambrose, and of course Kyle Busch, who won the race last weekend. Right now, Jeff Gordon is out front. He has led 145 laps so far.
Jeff has done an outstanding job of maintaining that position up front. The car has been great. He gets better on the long runs. He's done a really good job. Fun to watch that 24 be up front again.
Well, I'll tell you, a guy to see good, I'm really happy for to see him back in hunt right now is Jamie McMurray. This guy's dominant last year, had all kind of problems, but right now he's got that chip ganassi with Felix Abata's car back up front, looking good. And I'm real proud to see Jamie running strong like he's been running today.
Yeah, the guy for me is Matt Kenseth. There's a guy who early on in the race was talking about having brake problems, and he and crew chief Jimmy Fenning's got something figured out with this race car. They're figuring out how to let this thing roll. He has stayed up in the top 5 all night long, and he's going to be a threat at the end of this race.
I tell you, what about Brad Keselowski? This guy has been so consistent week after week. All of these top 5s and top 3 runs. I tell you what, Brad, I wouldn't be surprised if he's back in his championship hunt. And this is the guy we're looking at to get this big title at the end of the year.
He's been the strongest over the past few weeks, but the guy we have to pay attention to is old 5-time in the 48 car, Jimmy Johnson. Been around that top 5 all night long. They've run very well. Good pitch strategies by Chad Canals. They've been very consistent on pit road. Outstanding.
Look at that 20 car. Had a consistent run last night in the Nationwide Series race. Nationwide Insurance going to get it caught up to speed right now. Doc, what's going on with Joey Logano?
Maybe a coming out party for Joey Logano. Mr. Pass, who became Mr. Aggressive last night in the Nationwide race. Folks, he has never finished on the lead lap here in a Cup car. His average Cup finish here, 28th. Ouch. But tonight, Greg Zipadelli said, my driver no longer playing defense, now on the offense, going up to take spots away. That's the difference. Jamie.
And behind him, Carl Edwards got shuffled back just a couple positions. Now, a lot of people have been looking at the performance of this team the last 7 to 10 races, and they're questioning them. Bob Osborne is not panicked. He said, we've been working on R&D to make these cars and this team better in the chase. They're thinking big picture and going for the championship, Doc.
Back in 8th spot is Marcos Ambrose. His crew chief, Todd Parrott, won here 4 times with Rusty Wallace. Also won here in an August race with Dale Jarrett. He said, Ambrose reminds me of a Tasmanian Rusty Wallace. If you get him a good car or even get it close, he will drive the wheels off of it, which is what he's doing tonight, although he's losing a spot right there, Dave.
Martin Truex taking that 8th spot right now, Doc, and his crew chief, Chad Johnston, this is his 11th race with Martin this year. He says Pat Trice put together a good group. In fact, he was the engineer with this team. He said now we just have to get the finishes. The booth alluded to it earlier. They've been running well all night. Can they finish the deal? That's the question. Vince.
the 43 of A.J. Allmendinger. We mentioned working with Greg Irwin, the crew chief for the past 5 races, and Irwin credits former crew chief Mike Shiplett for really setting the foundation with this 43 team. But chemistry is king. It had run its course, and Irwin has come in and really struck a chord with Allmendinger. And Irwin says he's been really impressed with Allmendinger's attitude and effort. A little too loose right now, though. Jamie?
Behind him, Kyle Busch comes in as the favorite tonight. Of course, all eyes are on him when he comes to Bristol. He has 12 wins among the 3 in NASCAR series. His car was getting better until the last stop. They made an air pressure and wedge adjustment. Now Kyle's saying, we killed the center and late exit. Now he's just kind of hovering right there. Behind him, the 11, Denny Hamlin, not having the night this team was so hoping for. After 4 consecutive races of 15th or worse, they were hoping just to bring it home in the top 10, but a spin by Paul Menard set them back. They had damage at the rear of the car, but they managed to stay on the lead lap. Denny Hamlin staying in there. There's a caution on the track. Crash, guys.
Mark Martin into the inside wall on the back straightaway, and they're still jamming up.
Got tagged on the rear.
That's a pretty good description of what happened.
Leaders got there pretty quick, too, and Mark's still sitting in the middle of the track.
Front, the whole front just tore all up. Got the inside wall.
Mark was 17th at the time. Remember, he took the wave around and did not pit on the last caution. He was probably 30 laps or so from needing to pit again.
Yeah, he's racing really hard right here. You see with Brian Vickers. Get together. Mark gets the worst of it. Things happen fast here, and you see right here, he's up kind of in the middle of the track when the leaders come by.
Yeah, that really just kind of a misjudge on Mark's part. He was trying to slide up in behind. I think he thought the 83 of Vickers had just a little bit more speed than that.
Clear, we can see just fine.
Yeah, I think he thought he just had enough room to slide up.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Bobby Labonte in that 47 car involved in a little chain reaction accident there.
I hate to bring this up. We didn't think it was going to come down to it, but it looks like this is going to be right at the edge of their fuel window.
So we might be seeing top it off here, stay on the track rest of the race.
Good. We'll see.
Shut it off under the cautions, coast around where you can.
I don't know why we keep seeing this, but it seems like it's coming down to that almost every week.
Well, got 16 cars on the lead lap, 17 when you include the free pass recipient under this caution. So among everything else, get it full of fuel.
That's right. You got to get it slam full if you want to try to make this. And here they come.
There he is, Dave.
Leader will take fuel. He said that run was loose, so they're going to go half back on the left rear wedge adjustment they have made most recently. 4 tires for Jeff Gordon. Jamie?
And we haven't seen the best of Jimmy Johnson tonight. Came in 5th. He said the entry and exit is better, but he's a little bit tight and he's not able to put the throttle down 100%. Wedge and 4 tires, and they'll fill it up. Took a tear off on. Vince?
The 17 of Matt Kenseth said he just needs something to lean on, so they're going to make a chassis adjustment there at the top of your screen. Also going with 4 tires. They just feel like they need to be better getting off the corner. Now the 1 is a little bit too free, but Jamie McMurray says don't change a thing, just give me fresh tires. Doc?
Bottom of your screen, Brad Kay said the car is loose, but loose is fast, so don't touch it. He said, you know what? I'll hang on. Less than 14 seconds. Great pit stop, and there's the race off of pit road, guys.
It's close. Kenseth going to get there again with that drag race burnout down the front half of this front stretch pit road. It's enough to get him in front of the 24 car by that much.
Back under caution at Bristol Motor Speedway, aerial coverage by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires for the proving grounds of NASCAR inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. We have seen tonight some very interesting strategy on pit road, not necessarily by the crew chiefs, but by the drivers as they are getting off of pit road.
Yeah, we've watched Matt Kenseth as well as Brad Keselowski and even Marcus Ambrose. All these guys are flying up to certain sections on pit road and jamming on the brakes and slowing down. Watch him accelerate. He goes right past Jamie McMurray, right up to the line, and slows the car down. They've done their homework, and they're taking advantage of this opportunity.
Where they can make up ground to get ready for these restarts and maybe gain a position or two on the track. Alan?
Consistent pattern so far. Kenseth off pit road ahead of Gordon. After a few laps, Gordon by Kenseth. Let's see how it works this time.
Well, Jimmy Johnson really spin the tires on the restart there. He's got it back going pretty good, trying to battle Keselowski. That third spot. Oh, a little loose.
And filing away that they pitted when they did. And is that the last time they'll stop for fuel, or are we going to see another run to pit road?
Well, we've talked about how nice they've played for a long time. I'm thinking here with 130 that a lot of these guys have run out of patience.
Well, if you remember early in the race how Matt Kenseth took the lead from Brad Keselowski, rubbed him pretty hard coming off turn 4. I guess do you drivers log that away? Can you remember it that long?
Yeah, most of the time for that length, even at my age.
Markers. So the pattern continues. Gordon back by Kenseth.
Yeah, a little quicker this time. It's like Jeff was ready for his car and knows what to expect from it. Maybe made a little, saw them put a wedge wrench in the left rear there as they were making change. Seems to have helped him on the start here.
Housekeeping wave rounds on that caution. Montoya, Jeff Burton, Bobby Labonte back onto the lead lap. Paul Menard, Dave Blaney also with a wave around did not get them onto the lead lap, so none of those cars pitted, and none of them have the fuel to the finish in their tank.
Well, they're banking on these guys not playing nice up front either. Somewhere in the middle of the pack and things getting ramped up and getting a caution.
I think I'd probably be betting on that too.
It doesn't even have to be, somebody wrecking somebody. Just they start rubbing, knocking things off of these cars.
Yep.
Nowhere for it to go on this track.
McMurray, Johnson, 148, 4th and 5th. There's been a lot of big dollar promotions in the sport this summer as Brad Keselowski goes by Matt Kenseth for second. Got the Sprint Summer Showdown, right? The $3 million on the hook next week, which Jeff Gordon could qualify for, by the way, if he hangs on to win this race tonight. Got the DirecTV head-to-head knockout competition that comes to a head tonight with Keselowski and Kenseth racing to win that for fans and for their charities and so on. And they're second and third. Well, if Jamie McMurray wins this race, the sponsor of the race, Irwin Tools, sell tools to contractors. They had a promotion. They've got a concrete contractor in here from Montana that if McMurray wins this race, that guy wins $1 million.
Wow. That's cool. That's a lot of money being thrown around here.
Gotta like it.
Yeah. And don't think these drivers don't know about all of that, too.
Watching Edwards and Logano and Kyle Busch race here while we check on Mark Martin, Doc.
It is a very lonely feeling back here for Mark Martin, sitting inside his car, watching his crew peel away the entire front end of the car. Radiator gone, oil lines torn. They are taking the saws off, and they have cut some of the front suspension off. Lance McGrew and company trying to quickly repair this car just to get it to roll. Martin came in tonight 16th overall in the points, hoping to have a shot at the chase, but now sitting here with the whole front of the car torn away. Nothing he can do but stare and wait for the work to be completed.
I don't know that there's another track like this one where a driver just so many times ends up sitting in that car on jack stands when he'd rather just be heading for the tunnel and going home.
I'll guarantee you. It used to be before they built that tunnel, you couldn't get out of here, so you had to go ahead and sit there and fix it. But now you have that option. You don't want to be there, but you have to be.
Yep. Much about the guy who led this field to the green flag tonight, Ryan Newman.
Ryan's kind of struggled back there in 14th right now, trying to get that 13th spot away from A.J. Allmendinger. Dale Jr. is rebounding from being a lap down. You see him right there in the shot. He's 15th. Right behind him, a guy running and having a really solid night, Regan Smith in the 78 car.
Colorado connection there. Regan Smith, that team based out of Denver. Of course, the big win at Darlington in the Southern 500 earlier this year.
Yeah, the groove here tonight has looked a lot like the groove at Darlington up next to the wall.
115 laps to go. Jeff Gordon leading. Got a different guy chasing him now, though. Brad Keselowski ahead of Matt Kenseth. What's going to happen in the closing laps tonight here in Thunder Valley? Jeff Gordon has accomplished tremendous things in his NASCAR Sprint Cup Series racing career. He could accomplish another one tonight if he could win the night race here at Bristol. It would be the 85th victory of Gordon's illustrious run through this series. Would put him into third place all time on the win list ahead of Bobby Allison and Darrell Waltrip. It's the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Bristol, the Irwin Tools Night Race. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Gordon has led the most laps tonight. He's led 188 of the 397 we've run. He's had some pretty close challengers throughout the night. In fact, right now he's got about as big a lead as he's had through the entire night, and it's only 1.1 seconds. Still a lot of good racing going on, though. This is for the 4th and 5th spots. Jamie McMurray in the 1, Jimmy Johnson in the 48.
Jamie had passed Jimmy a little while ago, and then they swapped this back, and Jimmy's car looks like after about 25, 30 laps that it starts falling off just a little bit, and that's when Jamie's car really kind of comes to life.
McMurray had a great run here last August and is looking to do a little bit better. I think they kind of felt like maybe they had one getaway last August.
Yeah, but you can't ever feel like this place owes you anything. It'll jump up and grab you.
Jump up and pay you back.
Yeah.
Solid night for the 1, Vince.
Boy, and they've been due. They've had such a frustrating year. Bono Mannion told me earlier, he said it's just been terrible. But they've had a great night tonight. Just one top 5 all season long, but they're running in the top 5. And Bono's earned his paycheck. Track bar, wedge, rubber out of the left rear, air pressure. The crew chief has called for it all tonight. And McMurray has been driving it. He says it is fast. The problem, they're about 10 laps short on fuel. Dave?
That's not the case for Martin Truex Jr. as far as fuel goes. They can make it to the end, and they're this confident on the radio.
Seems pretty good. I just hope we can get there. If we can get there, man, we got a shot.
10-4. Well, we're not coming again. If anybody can do it, you can.
Again, good to the end on fuel. He has one career win, and it came on a concrete track, that at Dover a couple years ago. Jamie?
Well, coming into today, I talked to Steve Letarte, crew chief for Dale Earnhardt Jr., and he told me being in the position in points in 9th right now, the 2 cars they're watching is the 14 and the 33. They must stay ahead of them, and their driver is all over it.
Where's the 14? He is 3 laps down at 31st.
Where's the 33?
He is 4 laps down at 36th.
So Junior breathing a sigh of relief, knowing what position he is right now. He came in 9th in points, as we said. His night has been pretty good. He's been loose, but he's hanging in 15th right now, Doc.
2-car, we talked about the fact that Andy Petrie mentioned those 2 words no one wanted to hear. Fuel window. Well, these guys have the fuel to get to the checkered flag, maybe, but they are being told to save fuel. Now, my question to Dale Jarrett is, how in the world, if you're Brad Keselowski, do you save fuel at Bristol and still try to run down Jeff Gordon?
Yeah, that's the tough part of it if you're going to try to do that. But if you are going to save fuel, it's just rolling out of the throttle early, and then as you go to pick it up, you don't go wide open. You ease back into the throttle. It can be done. Very difficult to do and run fast, though.
One of the things you can do to save fuel and still run good lap times here at this track is don't touch the brake pedal. That brake pedal uses fuel. You see all that red that glows in these rotors? That takes energy, and all the energy comes from that fuel tank. So if you keep your foot off the brake, you can make pretty good lap times and save some fuel.
Right now he's got his hands full in some lap traffic and trying to hold on to that second spot as Kenseth and McMurray have caught him in the traffic. Well, Jeff Gordon, sorry?
I was just going to say that lap traffic is something that can really make you use up more fuel than you want to also, because you don't want to spend much time in making that happen.
I just want to go back to Jamie was talking about Dale Jr. We heard the radio there, him asking where the 14 and 33 Tony Stewart and Clint Boyer were. Here's the net on the night for Jr. He's going to gain about 14 positions on these guys, but their positions relative to each other aren't going to change much because they're both having lousy nights. Stewart last man in and Boyer first man out on points. Remember, you got to be in the top 10 in points to automatically make the chase. Relative to each other, they've kind of had a draw tonight. And here's that race for second. Now's the time, I'm thinking, tell me, driver, when you start to get in this lap traffic and you're trying to save fuel and you're trying to save brakes and you got all this stuff going on. Oh, and by the way, you've been out there for a couple, 2.5 hours at Bristol.
Yep, caution.
We got a caution here.
That is
Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch been in the wall.
Up in turns 3 and 4 and has apparently dropped some debris, perhaps. But certainly troubles here for Kyle.
I saw Jeff Gordon pull this move a while ago and
yep, there goes the debris.
Go between a couple of cars, but Kyle a little closer.
And he gets in the wall.
He was racing for 7th spot there.
The car just goes straight after that contact. Okay, all the cars are coming down pit road for tires. Dave?
Jeff Gordon says his car is real close. He just needs some drive off. It'll be another wedge adjustment, 4 tires and fuel for Jeff. Jamie.
Jimmy Johnson, another track bar adjustment, down 4 tires and just a splash of fuel. Don't fill it up. It will be a faster stop. Remember, we've got about, I'm trying to do the math here, about 80 and some laps left. Jimmy Johnson, good stop down and away. Vince?
The 17 of Matt Kenseth, he led this race early. You see him at the top of your screen. He still needs some grip off, so they're going to go down on the left rear wedge again, 4 tires. And the middle of your screen is Jamie McMurray. He says he's good. All he needs is track position. Don't change a thing, 4 tires. Doc?
Bottom of your screen, Brad Kozlowski says the car was free, but just then it became just tough to drive or even to hang on. They made an air pressure adjustment on the 2 car. He said, we've got to change it, guys. I've got nothing for the 24 if we don't.
Little strategy session on pit road. New guy is going to lead him off the pit lane. Martin Truex Jr. to the top spot. Follow up and restart it in a minute.
A shootout Saturday night.
Under caution with 82 laps to go here in Thunder Valley. Reminder that NASCAR Now will wrap up this race Monday at midnight Eastern Time on ESPN2. The NASCAR Nationwide Series and the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series head to Atlanta next week. Our Sprint Cup Series coverage presented by Pennzoil. That is next Sunday, ESPN. The Nationwide race next Saturday, both of those night races. And it's going to be fun. The big, fast Atlanta race with the Labor Day weekend. And, of course, got that Sprint Summer Showdown coming to a head at Atlanta next Sunday. And got a lot of great things going on.
Under the lights.
Little strategy and a little maximizing the pit road speeding rules has shuffled up the front of the running order here a little bit.
Yeah, some of these guys certainly have figured out exactly what they can do, where the pit segments. See, Jeff Gordon, he's by Matt Kenseth, but he takes off. Now watch Brad Keselowski come out of his pit area. He's going to pass both of them.
Man, you got the car. You got the car. No problem. 2 on the 50.
So, Martin Truex Jr. is the leader. Keselowski to his inside. Then it's Newman who got just right. Kenseth, Gordon, Jimmy Johnson. We're racing with 80 laps to go. Change for the lead.
Yeah, this could be huge. Keselowski getting out front right here. Jeff Gordon mired back in about 6th right now.
Got 4 tires and clean racetrack in front of him. 80 laps will go by quick here at this track.
So note that Truex was 7th coming down pit road. Ryan Newman was 14th. They came out in the top 5. Truex with the race lead off the stops.
I don't know that we've seen 2 tires work really well here, this racetrack. We'll have to follow their progress.
And you heard Jeff Gordon with the radio about we got killed. Well, Gordon is back in 5th now. And he's got to fight to get through a pretty tough customer to pass while Keselowski's out there cruising.
He got a couple of them, actually. He's got that 17 and his teammate, Jimmy Johnson, try to get by.
I was kind of thinking about 5 times.
Yeah, that's going to be tough.
There. Yeah.
But tonight, he hadn't had the car as good as Gordon. That 17's been pretty equal with Gordon on a lot of these runs.
See Jamie McMurray there, who also has a fast race car, trying to get by Ryan Newman. Ryan, always a tough customer, trying to get past. Got those 2 tires and up on the high side. Seeing a lot more pushing and shoving from a lot of these drivers right now, though. They understand 75 laps to go. They have to get it done.
And you mentioned it's going to go by in a hurry. It's 16 seconds a lap. Mark Martin came out for a lap, has gone back into the garage. Bobby Labonte got the free pass at that caution, and the intensity builds toward the finish. By the way, since the track was redone in this configuration, 7 of the 8 races had a caution inside the last 50 laps.
I think that's a good stat. We can probably use add another one to that before this is over with. See Jeff Gordon really having a hard time. Jimmy Johnson's got his car working pretty well on that high side, and Jeff hasn't been able to get by him. And there's not going to be any pulling over, letting anybody have the spot now. Too late in the race for any of that.
We've seen this a lot tonight, but trying to hook up and make that pass and finish that pass in that low lane. Remember, the low lane has a little less banking than the high lane on this Bristol configuration.
Yeah, unless your car's really good, like, and we see Jamie McMurray making a pass now on the 39 of Ryan Newman. His car's really good getting a bite up off the corner. But you almost just have to take a chance and pull a slide job if you can brave enough and your car's good enough. Jump down in the corner and slide up and just really break the momentum of that car you're making the pass on.
Truex doing a great job on 2 tires, though. That's pretty surprising that he is able to. He's actually pulling a little gap on those 3.
Yeah, his car's been great all night. It's the first time he's really been in this position to see. My question will be is, as these laps wind down, will he continue to have enough grip to be able to make that work?
And Jeff Gordon trying to use that low lane to get by Jimmy Johnson and see if he can get by Matt Kenseth. Pattern for most of the night tonight, if you haven't been with us for a lot of the race. 24-17, they've been the top 2 in the race. Go down pit road, Kenseth gets out first. After a few laps, Gordon goes back by him. But Dave, he's got a little more ground to make up now, Jeff.
What you just saw is what Alan Gustafson observed in the Nationwide race last night. I asked him, what'd you learn from last night watching? He goes that Clint Boyer couldn't pass Kyle Busch on the bottom for the win. So we set the 24 up to run mid to high line. And when Jeff was leading, that was the line he was running. Here he goes now. He'll try the high side of the 48 because just like everybody else, he's having trouble on the low line.
Yeah, and Jimmy Johnson can't use that low line to get around Kenseth either.
No, and Jeff Gordon has nowhere he can go right now. It's just sitting there watching these guys as Brad Keselowski drives away.
This the race for 3rd. Mentioning Kyle Busch, the 18. Remember, he was the one that brought out that last caution, nipped in the 3-wide contact and into the wall. Has stayed on the lead lap. He's in 16th place, racing with his brother Kurt there.
Contact with Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth right there as they came off of 4. Jimmy's really struggling. He's needing all of the racetrack, trying to use that low side. But Matt's got the high side covered. It's the only place you can go and make a pass.
Look at those brake rotors glowing too on the right fronts.
Now Gordon's going to be able to take that spot. He has been one that's been able to pass on the bottom side sometimes here. He's going to try it again on Kenseth. He knows he has to go. Here comes the one of Jamie McMurray to join this crowd.
And you know, refreshing memory about Jimmy Johnson's pattern tonight too. It's been after a few laps in a run, his car backs up a little bit. He just isn't able to.
Gordon trying to make that slide job. See if Kenseth. Oh, he does.
Barely pulls it off.
I didn't appreciate that.
Yeah, Gordon got almost got in the wall there if he didn't touch it.
Took a heck of a shot from Kenseth getting into the corner.
They're a little faster than they had been getting into that corner with that help.
Yeah. Oh, where's that brake pedal? Where is it?
This might cost Matt, though, because the 48 on the high side now. they can keep him pinned down. I'm not sure Matt's car, we haven't seen him be able to make this pass on the inside very often, so see if Jimmy Johnson can take advantage.
Here's the problem. This is for third place. Great racing. Just it's for third place if you're these guys.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski's almost a full straightaway. Granted, these straightaways aren't very long, but it's almost a full straightaway on this group right now.
There's the gap. Leader, second, and the race for third. So getting down to the final stages of the night race at Bristol. 57 to go. Brad Keselowski leading Martin Truex by 2 seconds. 3.2 back to Jeff Gordon. And do we get that other caution to reset the whole thing again? Getting to the late stages of tonight's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race. Here at Bristol Motor Speedway, the picture beginning to clear itself up a little bit. That is Brad Keselowski leading this race for second. Jeff Gordon charging through Martin Truex.
Not so fast.
Probably will be in a lap or so.
But they got some lap cars to deal with right here. They're racing extremely hard. That's going to break some momentum for Gordon.
Andy Lally in the 71. Mike Bliss in the 51. Oh, wow.
Oh, check it out. 3 wide.
Remember, we just heard that Gordon needs to run that middle to upper lane. Right now, he's being pinned right down on the bottom.
Yeah, he's been one of the cars that can make this pass happen. Martin Truex car just so strong on the high side. Jeff was able to really run him down. See Jamie McMurray now trying to take this spot. Jimmy Johnson, the 4th spot.
Well, what I started to say was that when Gordon finished that pass on Truex, did he have enough time, did he have enough laps to try and run down Brad Keselowski? Gordon has been the dominant driver of the race, but...
Well, hold that thought.
Yeah, I got to hold that thought.
Wait till he does get by, if he gets by.
Yeah, they've actually lost some time in doing this, which makes sense to Brad Keselowski, who's just mostly having to deal with some lap traffic, but not a lot of that.
Great look down on the race for second place from our aerial coverage by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear's learned, making tires for the proving grounds of NASCAR, inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. And back to the race for fourth for a moment between Johnson and McMurray. I'll tell you what has really impressed me tonight. We talked about the 56 team and how they needed to finish. Well, here we are. We're 40 laps to go at Bristol. They've been out there all night. They have played some strategy tonight. They've played all the cards right to be in position for this.
Don't jinx him. There's still a lot of racing left. 39 laps. There's a lot can happen here. He has had a good solid night, though. Especially on these 2 tires. I mean, I'm really impressed with what he's doing on those 2 right sides.
I refuse to take responsibility for jinxing someone when I'm praising
Is that
him,
the
okay?
disclaimer?
Yes.
He really has been solid all night, though. We've seen him race with Kyle Busch and a number of other people all night, and Martin Truex has just done a fantastic job with this race car all night. Not sure it's the best handling car, but he's doing a great job, Dave.
Well, DJ, I know drivers always try to be as positive as they can, but remember they were only looking for a shot, and crew chief Chad Johnston really gave him that shot with the 2-tire call. Not that they'd be the best on tires, but they'd get the track position, and other than losing the lead to Keselowski, that's really been the right thing to do.
Yeah, and that was the second strategy call by that team on the night, Dave, that got them up in that track position. So good for them, and hope they can finish it out strong.
Well, they've done all the right things tonight to make that happen, from the driver to the crew, and put him in this position. That's all you want is an opportunity. Bobby Labonte on pit road, unscheduled stop here.
Yeah, it sounded like his motor was blowing up. Came by missing. I don't know if he was out of fuel or what it was, but it was definitely missing.
Bobby had just gotten a free pass to get back on the lead lap at that last caution. And Dave Blaney is being pushed behind the wall to the garage as well. So the attrition list kind of building here in the late laps. There's the 36 car.
Looks like they might be changing a battery on Bobby Labonte's car. That must be what it is. You know, Truex is now just pulling away from Gordon.
Yep.
Now, Jeff's had to work awfully hard down that inside with the 48, with the 17, and then as he got up beside Martin Truex, it doesn't take very long, especially with a hard tire like this, to heat up that tire, especially that right rear, and then you get a little bit loose. You have to sit back and cool it off sometimes.
What are you hearing about the 24, Dave?
Alan, people are going to think DJ and I have worked together for too long. DJ, that's exactly what Jeff radioed. He said during the time when he was racing in 3 wide, he said, I really burned the right rear off. In fact, he laid off for quite a while before he went after Truex because of that. He really felt that handling in his car go away on the right rear.
There you go.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've been in that position. It was usually Jeff Gordon that was beating me then, so speaking a little bit from experience, but just really easy to do. But you got to give Truex a lot of credit for hanging in there and making Jeff use that up.
So we've watched that race for second for a bit between Truex and Gordon. We've watched the race for fourth between Johnson and McMurray. Kenseth has faded back to 6th. Newman to 7th. And then this race for 8th and 9th, Carl Edwards and Denny Hamlin. And a moment ago, it got a little interesting.
Sorry about that. I'll let him know. He got loose. That's why he checked up.
All right, so Hamlin by Edwards to pick up the 8th spot. And I know it's not the contend for the win night that they wanted all night, but after what's happened with this 11 team the last few weeks, that's a pretty solid night.
Yeah, they needed that tonight. They needed a good solid run. They're getting it so far.
Yeah, they got spun as the caution was coming out. They rebounded from that, got themselves in top 10. I say they'd be extremely happy they can get through these next 26 laps. No problems.
And Marcos Ambrose right behind them, hanging on to a top 10 spot in that 9 car. One of his better tracks results-wise for ovals, and he just really has put in another solid night. And speaking of solid nights,
I'm telling you.
Yeah, he's got it going right now, but that lead has narrowed up some between Martin Truex. It was about 3 seconds at one point, but now it's down to about a second and a half.
Yeah, I've seen Brad catch some traffic at kind of the wrong spots, but you have to wonder when you get out there knowing you're at the end of the race, it's very easy to run the car a little bit too hard and use your car up and not have enough left to run here at the end, especially as you catch all of this traffic.
Mandy, I know a theme that you've been on the last few weeks is that this 2-car, Keselowski, he might just make this chase without the wild card wins. He might just make it into the top 10 on points.
The way he's charged up, he wasn't even in the top 20 when he got his first win. And then here he comes. He is charging to that top 10. He's at 11th in points, and he's not far at all. 20, like right now, 20-some points away from being in the top 10.
Yeah, here's Gordon. He got back and cooled that right rear off a little bit, making another charge at Martin Truex.
And hoping for a caution to erase that gap up to the race leader.
Yeah, this is exactly what Keselowski needs. He'll be happy to see these two racing each other hard.
It's funny how these races flow. Gordon and Kenseth were top 2 most of the night, right? Gordon's led 206 laps, Kenseth 110. Right now they're 3rd and 6th as we get down to the final 20 laps. And he couldn't get it done.
Time doing it. These tires aren't going away on this 56 car. Obviously a great call by the crew chief giving him this opportunity, and Jeff Gordon just not strong enough there in the middle of the track to make the pass.
Jeff Burton got back on the lead lap. Now he's battling for 13th with Joey Logano.
Logano was up flirting at the backside of the top 5 a little earlier.
Burton made a green flag stop, got a lap down. He actually made a trip down both pit roads. And they cost him a lap, but he did stay out and get the wave around and caught a caution. So he's back on the lead lap.
And trying to race his way up into the top 10. Trying to work their way around Andy Lally in the 71 car. Lally running in 25th, a couple of laps down. Gives way.
Denny Hamlin just up in front of this, trying to get a spot away from 39, our pole sitter Ryan Newman.
That would be the 7th spot, if he can.
Each one of these points very valuable. Position valuable for a point.
Denny said that it was the lowest point of his career this last stretch. Said that the team's struggling to find the balance in the car that he wants. The first time they've ever struggled like this, but he said, you know, we'll continue to build on it. We'll continue to work at it. And if we get in, we've got a chance to win. Speaking about the championship.
Well, they're a strong team, and he's a great race driver, but right now it's time for Denny Hamlin to step up and show that he's a leader. When things aren't going well, you as the driver have more responsibility than just driving the race car. You have to get in there and show the team that you are the leader that they're looking for.
And again, Hamlin fighting here with Ryan Newman for 7th spot. So a good, solid, if not spectacular night for the 11. Still had good race for second. Bobble there for Truex in the 56.
Yeah, if Gordon could get by here, he's only 1.3 seconds behind Keselowski. You had to deal with some more lap traffic, but he just can't make that pass for second.
Yeah, we saw that lead shrink down to just over a second. And now it looks like Keselowski's got some free track in front of him.
He's got a lot of cars that are about, gosh, a half a second in front of him. Keselowski does that he may have to deal with here, or probably will have to, these next 11 laps.
Yeah, time's running out quick.
He's actually stretched that lead back out now just a little.
Here comes Gordon's best chance because the 83's been running high all night. If Gordon can get up there and stay beside Truex, he might put a pick on him, but not able to do that yet. See how hard the shot right here. Right here it is.
Just can't run off that lower banking. And now there's going to be a lap car in his way. Vickers gives way.
Oh, what a move there. Man.
Yeah, that's a nice job by Brian Vickers realizing that they are battling for second.
Laps running out quick. Brad Keselowski has put another half a second or so on this race for second while they've been going at it in the lap traffic. Second, and the guy out front has not led much tonight until he got off the pit lane ahead of Jeff Gordon and Matt Kenseth on that last set of stops, was lined up alongside Truex on the restart, got clear of him, and now he's looking for another win on this remarkable run that he's had in this summer of 2011.
He's built up a pretty good lead here, and they've done everything right. They do things right with the car. Brad does it great. You saw him take advantage of knowing exactly what to do on pit road as far as the segments go there. So, you know, when things are going well, you're doing everything that it takes to make that happen.
And again, trying and not giving up.
Keselowski is in a lot of traffic right now. He's run up on about 8 cars that are right in front of him. So this could get interesting.
There is the leader. There is second and third.
Yeah, see Brad really taking it easy. He's run up on Clint Boyer and David Reagan, Juan Montoya.
He's probably calculating he's got enough gap on those two running second and third that he doesn't have to put himself in jeopardy here in the last couple of laps.
He'll go away in a hurry, though, I can tell you that.
Coming to the white flag. Brad Keselowski 1 lap away from a win at Bristol. Truex and Gordon trying to chase him down. Do they get a break in traffic? Or does the Blue Deuce roll to Bristol's victory lane again? Gordon one more bid for second, but it's not going to be enough to catch Brad Keselowski. He wins at Thunder Valley. What a remarkable run in the summer of 2011 for the young man from Michigan. Truex able to hold off Gordon for second. Kenseth, one of the factors on the day, finished in 6th. And how about this kid?
Great job down there, guys.
Fourth win, third win of this season, second in the last 4 races. The Midas touch. This combination of Keselowski and crew chief Paul Wolf and Penske Racing.
I want that flag, man. Somebody's got to have a flag.
Yeah, he kind of narrowed the field
buddy, right through here, man.
Well, he definitely reduced the field, but, you know, we talk about the success Kyle Busch has had, thinking that he might be the man to win that $3 million or that split it all up between everyone, but I think this is the favorite going to Atlanta right here, Brad Keselowski. Looking to win $1 million for his team with the Sprint Summer Showdown, a fan, and driver's charity. Burn it down right now in that blue deuce.
Little star-spangled celebration worthy of a Goodyear winning moment from Brad Keselowski. They made the right call, Dave.
They really did, Alan. And Paul's had this look on his face. I've been trying to figure it out. Are you trying to contemplate just how much you've got now? You're 11th in points, 21 out of 10. You got 3 wins, Paul.
It's awesome. I'm just so proud of everybody on this team. To be able to have 3 wins now this season from where we started the year, it just shows all the hard work that everybody's been doing back at the shop. And all these guys here on the pit crew, we had the stop that counted tonight. They did their deal. Everybody just is doing their part right now, and just really proud of everybody on this Miller Lite Dodge team.
Thanks a lot. Paul Wolf, winning crew chief here tonight, Alan.
It was not all that long ago that at this very racetrack, Brad Keselowski struck up a conversation with Dale Earnhardt Jr. that led to him getting a ride in Junior's Nationwide Series team. It's led to him becoming a star now on the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series and a winner at Bristol tonight. Now the victory lane here at Bristol up on the roof so all the fans can have a look. Kind of become a new tradition here. Do the burnout up the building ramp.
Yeah, come up the ramp, smoke.
And what's become a regular happening, Brad Keselowski going to victory lane in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Pretty good show for the fans tonight.
Well, we had a nice crowd here, and Brad Keselowski put on a show for them.
With the race winner, Dr. Jerry Punch.
Brad Keselowski wiping his face off, got the helmet off, and hey, where else but Bristol would you wreck the car trying to get it to victory lane? He bounced it off the rail coming up the ramp to victory lane here, and now he's going to climb out of the car here and celebrate. Sprint Summer Showdown, dollar bills flying all around. Fireworks in the background, and now he is anointing his crew after that great pit stop that got him off of pit road first and got him out front, and he never relinquished the lead. Oh, now you realize he's still hurt. Let's get over here to Brad. Hey, Brad. Hey, buddy, entering tonight, you had never finished better than 13th at this place. What turned it around for you?
An awesome car, an awesome team, Penske Racing. Wow. The night race, the Bristol night race. I mean, this is a race like Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt win this race. This is a race of champions, and I can't believe it. I mean, you know, there's races that pay more. There's races that might have a little more prestige, but this is the coolest damn one of them all. We won today, Jerry. Isn't that awesome?
You did a great job. And let's talk about this month of August. You are the hottest driver in NASCAR. Since you were injured early on, you have 2 wins and a second and third. How does that happen?
A team that just starts to click and believes in each other. And I believe in Paul. I mean, since we started this year, and we just made good adjustments to our cars over the last few months. Made good adjustments to our cars during the race today. And on ourselves in victory lane. I just can't believe it, Jerry. I really can't. You know, first few pit stops of the day, we kind of struggled a little bit, but that last pit stop, my guys came through, got me out in front of the 24, and then we're able to pass Martin Truex for the lead there. And next thing I know, we're in victory lane, spilling Miller Lite, or spraying Miller Lite, man. It's just This is really cool.
Hey, Brad, look to your right here. See this young lady, Kim Kuhn, holding this bag of money? Now you only have to battle 3 other drivers at Atlanta next week to get a chance to win $3 million, $1 million to charity and $1 million to your fan and $1 million to you.
Well, that sounds simple, but I'm sure there's a lot of guys in Atlanta that are going to give us a run for the money. So proud of this, proud to have the opportunity to win that. But right now I'm just living in the moment. We're in Victory Lane in Bristol, man.
Victory Lane at Bristol. We told you it would be a test of his physical and mental endurance and toughness. And boy, did he ever pass the test here tonight. Brad Keselowski gets his first win here at Thunder Valley in Bristol, Tennessee.
And obviously, his words tell you all what it means. And by the way, Brad winning the DirecTV head-to-head knockout as well, the money for his foundation. Brad's foundation giving soldiers trips to racetracks and rides around and so on. And he's going to be doing that here tomorrow. Brad Keselowski winning a lot tonight in Thunder Valley.
ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on ABC. Brought to you by Cobalt, the next generation of tough tools. AT&T. And Gillette Fusion Pro Glide and the Irritation Defense Line. Help defend your skin.
And certainly our thoughts are still with all of those who are affected on the East Coast and those of us who are here in Bristol who have friends and family out there as well. Certainly a much different night here in Bristol, Tennessee, as Brad Keselowski has once again gone to Victory Lane, his 3rd win of this season. And how about the guy who finished 2nd, Martin Truex Jr. Vince?
His best finish in about 4 years, since August of '07, so a long time coming. He made a 2-tire call on that last pit stop, and it worked for you. How big of a call was that going down the stretch?
I don't think it was that big of a gamble, really. I mean, we took 2 earlier in the race and got some track position and was able to drive up, toward the 5th or 6th before we got tangled up with Harvick there a little bit. But, overall, just a great night for Napa Toyota. We had a lot of speed on the longer runs, and I was telling you before, we drive up to 8th or 7th at about every run, and we were off a little bit on the restarts. Took me 4 or 5 laps to get going, and I'd lose a couple spots, and take me the whole run to get them back. And pretty much all the long runs we were as fast as the leaders or faster all night long. Just couldn't get there. That 2 tires got us up there, and once again, I couldn't run with Brad for 5 or 6 laps, and just too tight on them restarts, and he checked out, and then we just kind of maintained. But great night for all of us on our Napa Toyota, and just got to thank Schick and Bass Pro and all our sponsors, everybody who makes this deal possible, all the guys back at MWR working really, really hard. We've had a real up and down season, and we've had some bright spots. We've had some really, really tough days, but those guys have continued to work hard and stuck behind us, and just want to thank all them and Rob and Michael and everybody, and just keep plugging away. It's nice to have a good finish, and again, thanks to all the guys in Napa.
They delivered tonight. 2nd place for Martin Truex Jr. Dave?
Jeff Gordon, 3rd place. Just had, I'd say, more smile discussion with 3 or 4 guys that he had some tussles with tonight than I've seen in a long time at Bristol. Talk about all the leading and then having to give up the lead on pit road, and then Jeff not being able to get it back.
Yeah, I knew when we, Matt was strong and the 2 was really strong there, the run right before that last one. I wasn't too worried about the guys on 2 tires, so I was a little bit surprised we weren't able to get by Martin. He was really strong on the top, but man, me and Matt and Jimmy fought so hard there for what was that 3rd or 4th position, and we used up a lot of our stuff, and Brad was just able to go out there and cruise. But we had an awesome drive-in Hunger Chevrolet tonight. I'm so proud of these guys. I tell you, the pit road thing is interesting here. I think they got to look at that, because qualifying becomes such a premium, and we qualified pretty good. We had a pretty good stall, but if you looked at how the 2 and the 17 were able to shoot out there, it's I think it kind of defeats the purpose of a pit road speed, but that's not what cost us. I mean, we just didn't get it done on the racetrack. We had a great battle, heck of a race car, led a lot of laps. Brad did a great job, and Martin did a great job of holding me off there in 2nd. We raced hard and slid around a bunch, so it was a lot of fun. Great night for us. Proud of my guys, Alan, everybody. What an awesome race car. Can't wait to go to Atlanta.
Fun to watch as well. Jeff now 6th in points, 93 ahead of 11th, heading to Atlanta next week. Jamie?
And Jimmy Johnson tied in points for the lead, but because of wins, he is 2nd. Is it a relief or what? You clinched a spot in the chase. Obviously, at this point, 2 races to go, Jimmy. You had a good night. Pit road, the guys were solid. Take us through your night.
Yeah, we had a very solid night all night long. Just very, very proud of the effort and the way we've been building all season long and getting ourselves ready for the chase. And I think we're real close and we're there. Sprint, I got to thank them and all that they do for our sport. And I'm very honored to have been in every chase that's ever been around. So hopefully I can get in there and do my job with the slow Chevrolet once again. And I know my team's going to be ready. And we're going for that 6th championship. So very excited to lock in tonight and up there with Kyle in the points. And we'll go to these next 2 and see if we can't get a W.
All right, next week it's business as usual, but he is going to be breathing a sigh of relief at Richmond.
Jamie, thanks. As the post-race fireworks give the fans one final show on the night here in Thunder Valley as they begin to make their way toward the parking lots. We look ahead now from tonight's race. The 2 races to go before the field that will compete for NASCAR's championship this year is determined. And tonight we had some people who advanced, obviously. And we had some people who didn't help their cause at all.
No, certainly we came in there talking about Dale Jr., Tony Stewart, Clint Boyer. What were they going to do? Well, Dale Jr. had an okay night, but Boyer and Tony Stewart kind of had equally bad nights and really didn't do anything as far as that 10th spot and Boyer trying to get in. So a little bit surprising for both of those very good short track racers.
Yeah, Tony, he dodges a bullet because the only guy right behind him that can knock him out was Clint Boyer. Well, his night was just horrible. And, you know, like I said, they just kind of went, I get what Brad called a pillow fight tonight. so they go to the next race and try to see what they can do there.
And as far as the race had a pattern to it. Jeff Gordon and Matt Kenseth did most of the dominating all night, but when it came right down to the last run of the race, it was somebody else who ended up taking home the trophy.
Yeah, and I think because of what Jeff was talking about, that pit road, Brad Keselowski did a great job. He did his homework, knew exactly what he needed to do. That got him in position to take advantage of that restart and get out front.
And one thing I've seen about Brad Keselowski, even back in the Nationwide Series, is just how he hangs in there. He's so tough. He hangs in there all night long, and he's able to take advantage of a situation like we saw with his pit crew getting him out and him getting that lucky break to kind of get out front of these other guys that were faster mostly than him all night.
Who saw this coming? That this young man would be such a story over these summer months and become such a factor, yes, for the championship this fall. Brad Keselowski with another win tonight, this time the night of the race here at Bristol. Brad, one of the drivers that'll go to Atlanta next week and race in that finale of the Sprint Summer Showdown. That's next Sunday night on that very fast 1.5 mile track. Coverage on ESPN. Tickets available by going to NASCAR.com/tickets. Then it's on to the Chase deciding race at Richmond. And the 10-race run to the title begins at Chicagoland, New Hampshire, Dover, Kansas, and right on down through the finale in South Florida. And we hope you can join us at the track for some of the races remaining in this 2011 season. Well, Matt Kenseth, one of the guys that was a dominator on the night, but didn't get the trophy, Dave.
110 laps led tonight, Alan, and yet it wasn't enough, Matt. You had brake issues early on, and what happened late in the race that kept you back?
We just got off a little bit in our handle, and Jeff and I got together up there, and then by the time we got all that done, I kind of got past, lost a couple spots there. So, but yeah, I fought the brakes all day, and I wasn't very good for about 20 laps, and then all of a sudden you could run, but it was just so difficult to pass on hot tires tonight. They had to get it done in those first 20 laps. So really the good qualifying effort, the great pit stall and great pit stops kind of kept us where we were all night. So there was moments in the race where we seemed pretty good, and then other moments where we were just kind of hanging on.
Well, they hung on. They finished 6th and moved up 2 spots in the points. Jamie Little?
And it was all about handling for Carl Edwards, too. He was fastest in both practices, and you just missed getting the pole this weekend, Carl. But you guys were loose for quite a while. Oh, you're getting a payback from Matt Kenseth. They're kicking each other, having a good time out here. But overall, it was a good night. But take us through the handling situations and how much it changed.
I hope that was his foot. We had a good night. A good performance, not a good result. You know, we had a Aflac Dental on the car, and the first mission was not to knock the teeth out of the front of that paint scheme, and we did that. We made it to the end. But we struggled all night. We were loose off. I mean, I'd come off the corner, have the throttle down, the rear tires would just, they would light up. And so we'd go on those long runs, and it was very difficult. But we had good pit stops, good strategy, and we locked into the chase. So that was huge. You know, that's the first mission of the season, and we accomplished that. But looking forward to Atlanta.
You know, a lot of people are looking at your results for the last 8 weeks, and they're kind of going, what's up with this team? Well, Bob Osborne said there's no panic. You guys have been doing R&D for the chase. Are you okay with that and where you guys stand?
Yeah, I am. I mean, we've won races. We know how to do that. I feel like we've led the points for a long time. but what we have to do is we have to close the deal. We have to put together 10 races with no mistakes and the best equipment we can. So Bob Osborne's a very smart guy. We got a lot of engineers back there at the shop behind him, and if they say that's the plan, then I'm with them, and I just hope it works out.
All right, Carl Edwards is in the chase. Doc?
Denny Hamlin needed a comeback race, and Denny, you got it tonight. A good effort by you guys for a 7th-place finish.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to be happy with 7th, but I tell you, we did a great job. We had about 10 seconds to repair our car from the damage when we got spun. Or else our night was over. We were going to go a lap down, and that was going to be it. But pit crew did an amazing job. The guys fixing the car did an amazing job. Mike did a great job of getting our adjustments better and better as the day went on, and we just slowly worked our way back to the front there.
It seemed like you had a couple of bumps out there, but you maintained your composure, even apologized one time to Carl Edwards. What does this kind of effort do for you guys headed to Atlanta and in Richmond in terms of the chase?
Well, this is, really on track was about the most patient I'd been since my rookie year. I just knew what I had to do. And, I hate racing not 100%, going all out, but going all out's what got me in trouble last week. So, this is the type of finish and these are the type of days that we need with our FedEx team to put ourselves in a position to fight for a championship later on. And, if we just get past these 2 weeks right here smooth like this week, we'll be just fine.
Hey, good effort tonight, bud.
Thank you.
Well, the NASCAR Now Roundtable on Monday certainly has a few things to talk about from tonight's race. You can catch that Monday night on ESPN2 at midnight Eastern. Then next weekend, we are in Atlanta. The NASCAR Nationwide Series is Saturday night at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. And, of course, the Sprint Cup Series race on ESPN, 6:30 Eastern on ESPN. Brad Keselowski did it again, guys.
He dominated. There's no doubt about that. I mean, dominating the last 4 races. The guy's been fantastic. But I tell you, the guy that really impressed me tonight, Nicole, with Jeff Gordon, leading 206 laps tonight, Brad. Very good. 2 other guys, Martin Truex and Jamin McMurray, those guys are not in the top 20 in points, but they needed a good run. It turned out good.
They did. Marcus Ambrose finishes 10th. Great run for him. Clint Boyer and Tony Stewart, man, I cannot get over how poorly they ran tonight. The pressure is on when we go to Atlanta next week.
Pressure is on. It'll be interesting to see how this chase situation unfolds. Keep in mind, 4 drivers clinched tonight. They join Kyle Busch, who's already in. We will see you next weekend from Atlanta. Congratulations once again to Brad Keselowski. Thank you for watching ESPN on ABC. We'll see you in a week.